battle for life. I gotta fight for my right. That's biblical rights, not physical rights. They blinded your sight. You think that they for you, but this is a war zone.
This is a war zone.
Yes, this is a war zone. Hey, tell them we need our advances, and if they ain't got it, then they gotta double up. The payback is troublesome. Prove my identity. If you need scriptures, then we got 100 of them. Ain't risking my freedom, cause I never had that. Descendant of God. Even if this was tennis, boy, you couldn't match that. Striked out, we the light, and you couldn't match that. The Sabbath is here, the building was swole, Boy, you know we packed that. I know they tired of the songs of repentance. I know they praying the Lord don't revenge us. I know I might lose it all if I'm sinning. I know the ending been fixed from beginning, but hey, your pastor really a heathen. What has he really been teaching? I'm back on my grizzy, but oops, I mean spiritually. I gotta keep my foot right on the net. It wasn't just physically, destroyed us mentally. Now we just coming to cashing our check. My people rap about cars and baguettes. My people still got them chains on their neck.
Talk about freedom, but what is this freedom you speak of?
How you scream freedom and we in the war? We beg for mercy and they kill us more. We think they changed from what they did before. You trust in them and I trust in the Lord. I can't forget what they did to my father. I can't forget what they did to our mother.
Hey, I'm in the battle for life. I gotta fight for my right. That's biblical rights, not physical rights. They blinded your sight. You think that they for you, but this is a war zone. Yes, this is a war zone.
Trey A, still young. Got a lot of fight in this dog. Never run when it's war. Gotta bite with spark. Gotta bring the light to the dark. And the brights go hard like Flint water. Better pay respect to a guard. Never left a tour. Seen a lot of death in this war. Got a vest in the sword. Still stressing them boys. There's a devil head on no detours. Had to get it from the ground. No B-boy. Israel United and Christ be the engine. We teach you repentance, don't get destroyed. Gotta get it for the kingdom and I need that. Can't look back, can't relapse. I ride with the bishops, won't quit till it's finished. A lion, a Judah, no kitty cat. Now pick up the news, we are the Jews. We got the proof, deacon the booth. Beat up the track like I beat up these doomies. Hand on their neck, man, I'm bad like I'm Ruben. And flexing on D-Day and you know what we do. Heathens be wishing we cool, we got the juice. Packing and bagging the fruit, yeah, we in the street with the truth. And this body done grew, hey, now I'm gon' ride with the crew. It's a car with it like they lose. Agents of Satan, these Edomites do, and I'm applying the pressure like Jesus would do. And they hating me, they can keep hating me. We got advantage, the angels is loose. Ain't no excuse. You can choose life or a noose. I'm willing to die with the truth. Judah.
I'm in the battle for life. I gotta fight for my right. That's biblical rights, not physical rights. They blinded your sight. You think that they for you, but this is a war zone. Yes, this is a war zone. See that I'm a changed man. I ain't even heard from my old friends. Alcoholic when my daddy was. Big bro gone, he was selling drugs. Little sis cut her hair, now she blind to us. How the hell am I supposed to say I'm proud of her? On the flip side, she done graduated college. Now she look at me like, damn, big bro. I ain't even see you in the stands, big bro. When you was doing music, was a fan, big bro. But she don't know the life I live, the life I tried to show. The godly man, I'm trying to grow. The times I pray in private for, I'm only here for the turn up. Up until to see the French man show up. Up until to see the Bible start to glow up. Then they all wanna act like they know what, then I don't wanna show them. So I side. I'm just gonna let it ride. I don't wanna fuss and fight. I'm just gonna show my this little light of mine. Hey, we gon' turn it, we gon' let it shine. Hey, this little light of mine. Hey, we gon' turn it, we gon' let it shine.
Say I ain't never been focused like this. Stop effing around with the sin. Used to Dutch angle scripts twist, and now I see through a different lens. Cut off my homies and dip. I ain't even shit. It is what it is. That's just a part of the switch. You can say I flip. Call it what you want, cause now my light shine bright like LEDs. Pops always tell me stay woke. Don't let that white man sell me dreams. America grew up in the dark, but the children, I promise you set the scene. Like a kabuki from average to living my life like a movie. The fruits of our labor, it's like in the smoothies. We all in the mix with it. Christians say this ain't the truth, but them niggas is fictitious. Haters be too lightweight, trying to move in them big bridges. Yeah, leave it to us and the bishops. You ain't yourself. Yabbing my snickers. Our light shine bright. Your lantern is flickering. It's the light of mine.
Hey, we gon' turn it, we gon' let it shine. Hey, this little light of mine. Hey, we gon' turn it, we gon' let it shine. Man, with me now.
Would you ride for me? Would you die for me? Would you cry for me? Would you provide for me? Ain't no better friend than lay his life for me. Would you run for me? Would you die for me? Would you ride for me? Yeah. Would you die for me? Yeah. Would you ride for me? Lay down your life for me. It ain't a prophecy. This is prophecy. I'm fulfilling it like a bottle, see. Would you ride for me? Would you die for me? Or would you lie on me? Would you cry on me? Would you lean together, sip and slide on me? Would you provide for me? Lay down your life for me. Gotta give back, that was on me too. I had nobody help me through. Nobody paid the bills, they done helped too. I was left by myself, I was stripped too. No structure in my life, we gon' both relate. I had nobody tell me nothing till I came in the truth, now it's something. But your brothers never gotta ask something. Would you ride for me? Would you die for me? Would you ride for me? Would you die for me? With a real friend, lay his life for me. That don't mean nothing if you ain't got no charity. Would you die for me? Yeah. Would you die for me? Yeah. Would you provide for me? Yeah. Lay down your life for me? Would you die for me? Yeah. Would you die for me? Would you cry for me? Lay down your life for me? Got back, sitting on the highway. I'm here up and I'm about to do it your way. I don't act like I'm always in a proud way. Yeah, we prepping like we get ready for Friday. Next Friday, I'm still going in like a curfew. I know you get mad, take it personal. Don't be sick, but I fly, call that bird flu. You don't talk nobody. Would you ride for me? Would you die for me? Would you ride for me? Would you die for me? Would you ride for me? Yeah. Would you ride for me? Yeah. Would you die for me? Yeah. Lay down your life for me.
Tell me that you gon' ride for me. Would you ride just for love? I ain't used to keep no commandments. Now I'm fighting off the lust. I know my brother got me, always there when it's tough. Most High gon' hold me down. I ain't even gon' same thing he did last time, but I was trying to do me. I was trying to live a fast life. He was trying to change me. Had me spiritually in a chokehold. Had to crawl on my knees. I was turned up. I'm in go mode, trying to fight off that sin. Israel, rising like an escalator, still adding more like a calculator. Open my eyes, I was fascinated. Gave me the truth, I was educated. Most High said we a holy nation. Zephaniah 2, that's cooperation. And have a pot to piss in, but if we stick together, we can rock this nation. Start to build some spaces, you know, homes and places. Start formulating ideas, dead. No but rock, but yeah, we can. Was over again. Thank God that they lied and he gives second chances. I've been through some things, but yeah, here I'm still standing. I'm proud of myself, let the church say amen. I've been through some trials, but yet I'm still here standing. I'm looking alive. They wanted me dead, but I'm too resilient. Somehow they mistaken for pride. I'm going through personal, going through church and marital trials at the same time. Hell scares. I never did think I'd been challenged, but I gotta gird up my loins. And although I've been losing my balance, I keep it inside. They want me to speak on it. Of course I had weak moments. Put my head in the word, need a cut, so I leaned on it. I've always been truthful to music. If I wrote it down, I've probably been through it. I've always tried to use my influence, knowing kids listen to the word, so I push the message to them. I wouldn't be real if I ain't do it. And multiple times I've spoken through lines. They hearing my verses and ask if I'm fine. Inflicting this pain on myself, cause I know that it helps someone else to endure through it. If I get chastised or if they do cancel me, know I survived through it. Yeah. They tried to tell me that my life was over again. Thank God that they lied and he gives second chances. I've been through some things, but yeah, here I'm still standing. I'm proud of myself, let the church say amen. Yeah. Straight out the tribe of Judah. You already know. Speaking on the name, man, them boys better show respect. Lying on some things, you would think them boys in politics. Jesus was a black man, but how come they ain't showing that? Left the church and told my pastor, nah, dog, I ain't going back. I can't play no games, man, I got too much to lose. I can't play the middleman, you know I had to choose. We are not the same, man, our doctrines ain't congruent. From a nigga to a God, boy, the Bible got influence. My God'll give it to me, I just know I gotta ask for it. Destruction coming soon, but I know that I can't fast forward. Chariots been flying through the heavens like an asteroid. I got you on my tab for what you speaking in them tabloids. I've been moving spiritually, but they don't take it seriously. I try to give
It's that time again. Yeah. Ya la hora. You know, power hour. Ponle atención, class is in session. Tune in for an hour, maybe more, that's a blessing. Learn from the captains and the leadership. Flee from religion, cause them churches never teaching shit. Everything you learn for your benefit. Line upon line is a requisite. Never take a deficit, yeah. That mean you take a loss if you stray from the way. You get the understanding if you study every day. Apply what you learn and bless when you pray. It's one interpretation, man, it's say what it say. Ya viene el tiempo, entra para el templo. Aprende aprende del maestro con talento. La Biblia es el centro, usando a Israel como instrumento. No te pierdas en doctrina como viento. Estudia y ora y aplica. Tiempo para Dios, ven, hace una cita. Escritura dinamita, morenos y hispanos israelitas. Oye cómo explica Israel unido en Cristo para la vida, nunca se divida. And it's the power hour. Learn your family history, don't be a coward. Yeah, tune in, it's the power hour. I said learn your family history, don't be a coward.
Yeah, history, they learn. It's the power hour. The 11th hour. Tune in to your history. You know it ain't no mystery. Power hour. The 11th hour. You gon' learn your history. The 11th hour. Power hour.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the Power Hour Plus.
Oh, how you feeling, Deke?
Yeah, D, what's happening?
Why you look so like
You
know what I mean?
Damn,
Come on,
you want
come on,
me to
dude.
throw them under the bus? You like.
No,
like
no, look
because
at
you know why.
you.
You know.
want
You
to
know.
wants to see blood.
You know why I'm feeling like that.
Right, but you don't have to.
You
feel
know
like
that's
that.
not how I was feeling.
And this is going
Bro,
back to last class about the countenance.
since yesterday, like my spirit's
Right.
been like not at rest because I had all this stuff I wanted to bring out today.
Right.
I'm reading stuff in the news and I'm like, oh snap, you know, like just
I mean, you've been posting
Right.
for
oh,
the last 3 days.
just the juices is flowing.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, I told the brothers today, I said, yo, I might want a plus today, like a plan plus.
A plan
Yeah,
plus
that's
plus.
crazy. That's not even.
Right.
That's not like consistent.
And I said, look, I know we normally start 7:15. I said, if we could start like 7, maybe 7:05, get a little people to get in the
Right.
room.
7:05.
Let's get it popping.
I 7:05.
And yet again, and even the audience probably knows, I've been talking about them fixing the call-in feature.
Right.
DC is true.
Since we lost it in December, I think we knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, I think it was November, December is when I got the Blog Talk thing that Blog Talk was shutting down.
Right.
Because
They weren't talking no more.
our number shot through Blog Talk. They were like, oh, all right. And, you know, it's March. We in the Hebrew New Year.
I mean, we going into April.
The month of Esau, y'all.
We going into Passover.
Right.
And that joint still wasn't fixed.
Claude
So I
Hammer.
said, hey, you know, just fix it.
Yeah.
But then they, in their wisdom, thought it was smart to fix it at the expense of starting on time.
They who?
They, the freaking people that work
Under
in the
stairs.
background.
Damn.
Them who will remain nameless.
Damn, he didn't even say the production team. He said
And
the
faceless.
team in the background. God damn it.
So they killed the love.
Damn.
So I don't have the same energy that I had coming into the show.
I'm thinking of a precept right now. I'm just it's coming. It's coming. You know, one that's an uplift.
No, I don't want to uplift. Let me get is it Ecclesiastes 10 about the slothfulness?
Oh, damn.
the
The
decay
of
about
the
the
building.
building.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Lord.
tell you what the nameless and faceless background brothers.
Damn. Nameless and faceless background brothers.
It's verse 18.
Y'all don't even get a
Nameless, faceless background. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe if they do a flawless broadcast today.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe if they do a flawless broadcast.
Right.
Maybe if they do a flawless
Damn.
broadcast, I'll hook them up. Read this scripture.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 18. By much slothfulness, the building decayed.
Right.
Damn.
And look, a lot of times we think, well, I don't think any of the faceless, nameless brothers are
Damn.
slothful brothers.
Right.
In the traditional sense. But I always say, we always think extremes, right? They tell you the job pays 50 to 75. What are you expecting?
75.
No, you're expecting 75.
Yeah,
right?
75.
So, you think slothful and you're thinking the brother that's just scratching, eating chicken, watching porn, right?
Right.
No, okay? No. But it's slothful, right? Remember, Romans 12 talks about don't be slothful in business. Fervent in spirit, right?
Fervent.
If I've been asking for the call-in for months.
4 months.
Why wait to the day of? Why wait till I say something to do stuff about it? You got all these days. We're open just about every day in
Every
school
day.
for something,
Yeah.
right? 7 days a week, right? I mean, even Friday, even if it's just to get stuff situated, the doors are open.
This is true.
Come in and fix it, Jesus. Damn it! Read it from the top.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 18. By much slothfulness, the building decayed.
Right. Don't think that because you may say, I'm not characteristically slothful.
Right.
But the scripture has to mention slothfulness a lot. And if the Bible is for us, and by us I mean the Israelites, then that means we're capable of it, that spirit is in us, or we've done it. Right. So I know a lot of times we be like, "Ooh, Esau nasty, bestiality." Those laws were written for us. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, that's the point.
The fact that they had to tell us not to mess with animals means some of our brothers and sisters got that spirit on them. All right? They got that spirit on them.
Damn, Jake the Snake.
So go ahead, read it from the top again.
By much slothfulness, the building decayed.
Right. That's how things start to fall apart.
Right.
By much slothfulness. Right? Because why? A building needs upkeep. Right. Maybe if you have an apartment, you don't really think about it because your landlord takes care of everything. But a building needs uptake, right? When you have a house, you think about it. Those of us who have schools and are involved in the schools, we know that there's things that we got to do. We have to proactively change the filters in the air conditioner. Guess what? That makes a big difference, right? When was the last time that was done here? Now that we're talking about it, summer's coming. Maybe we need a tune-up. Right, and we know that thing don't even work right, even in the summer. So let's perfect that, right? So see, I'm hitting points now.
Everybody catching shots right now.
For the
different zone,
for the right men in Phoenix to fix that joint, right? So there's maintenance that involved in a building, right? And when you're building, there's certain things that you have to proactively do. We dealing with the show here, right? Come on now, go ahead. What else?
And through idleness of the hands, the house droppeth through.
Right, the house droppeth through. You know how many people probably like, damn, I used to like the option to call in. Maybe they didn't call in that much.
Right.
Maybe they didn't call in when the show wasn't as popular. But now people be in their seats and they might want to say something.
Yeah, I think so.
And they can't even call in.
Damn, nameless, faceless brothers.
Because the nameless, faceless brothers.
Damn it.
collectively known as, I'm not even gonna say they're IT because IT would be on it.
Right. Damn, you don't even get a moniker today.
Oh man.
Oh man.
It's the face that gets me when you look at the video.
He's like staring into your soul.
He is so serious.
Yeah.
Feelings of love. I'll tell you. Look. Damn. Look, they knew we was gonna be live. That's another thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm not on social media. Were we saying that we're gonna be live? We gotta remind people.
We have to remind them.
Right? Like we know we was gonna be live. We should have been doing ads, right? We got 149. 149. It's all right. The word don't go out, boy. I'm gonna bring whatever, however it comes.
Nah, I'm just like.
Right.
I don't know. I wanted to go. I wanted to go 3 hard hours, man. But I don't want to go to bed too late. I've been tired.
Yeah.
Not feeling 100.
You're not.
Captain Zephaniah came out here and got me sick.
Damn.
Always sick when he freaking travels.
Damn it.
Got me sick.
Chucha.
On another note.
Go ahead. Wait, who are you?
Wait, who are you?
I said who I am.
Okay.
Did you?
See, I don't remember.
That's
who are you?
Right.
Officer Asher.
Okay, I'm Officer Ravain. Who are you?
Officer Tobias.
Okay. And we make up the Power Hour Plus. Now,
That's right.
can we get to the sin of the night?
Do your thing.
Sin of the night is mahogany spice. Because it's really nice.
I was going to hit the drum roll for you.
But you forgot. Everybody's off today.
You was too quick.
That's fine. What you got?
We need to pick up.
Hey, I found a new staple. This thing is fire.
What's that?
Cedar leather vanilla. Cedar leather vanilla.
When we had
Let me
that?
check it out.
Let me he's smelling supremely manly.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Do we want to hear him today?
I don't know. Do I even want to hear him so early?
Hear
Maybe
who?
later.
Very early.
Maybe later.
I don't know.
Is this critical information? Yay or nay? Don't tell me anything else but yay or nay. Is it critical information?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Officer
You may speak.
Officer Tobias, please scoot over out of the corner, sir. The people cannot see you. Thank you. That's critical. Because we need to see the host.
Bro. Like more than half of you was in the corner.
Man, it was like
I'm
Harvey
boxed
Dent.
in.
You was like Harvey Dent over there. Like
I have to move it.
You got a clean, crispy shirt on for once. Like show them
that must look good.
I don't see no
Hold on,
coffee
hold on,
stains.
hold on.
They ain't no
I don't see no
stains.
stain. Ain't no stain on you.
Hey, shout out to Original Royalty, whoever got
fits
the new
good.
shirt.
Damn.
Looking good.
Hey, speaking of
Damn, and you got the big joint. He got why Ravain got the little one?
I got the damn it.
He got the big joint too.
All y'all.
Hey, you do
I'm
get
the
the
one
little
that-
joint. Oh, you got the
Oh,
older one.
that's
That's
so
why.
cute. You get the little. You get the little.
wee one. The
You
little
get the
wee one.
little. You
It's
get
like
the
that
little.
IUIC logo on the back of my shirts. Remember
Oh
you mentioned
yeah,
that?
yeah.
You was like, hold on, let me
Right,
see the back of your
because
shirt real quick.
I'm used to seeing large, extra large, 2X shirts.
Yeah.
But you can't do the same size print on a medium or a small. So he wears mediums.
Yeah, he is medium.
And we was on one of the missions, and I was like, "Why is your letters so small?" I was like,
He stopped me and made a whole scene and everything. Hey, Cap.
I wasn't.
Oh, snap.
I wasn't trying to intentionally make a scene or nothing. It's just like it hit me like a ton of bricks in that moment, and I was like,
Right.
And then I just couldn't make the connection that it's the smaller print because you have the smaller shirt. So, nothing took the cake for when Cornelius was trying to say his shirt wasn't altered. His Cornelius had the camp shirt, right? And we couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. But every time he raised his hand when he was teaching like this, like the shirt would come up and you would see his belt.
Oh, dang.
Right? Like you would see his belt. You damn near see his his waist, right? With the shirt. And we all looking and we're trying to figure out. And I was like, is it that he got the wrong size? And I was like, no, but it looks like it fits up here. And then we said, yo, your shirt got cut. Nah, it wasn't cut. Nah, it wasn't cut. But I think it was like 2 days like that because it was like another day he rotated it.
Right.
And then finally, I guess he didn't realize that it was trim, but I guess his wife, I think he had made a comment about the length. Because they do, sometimes I do feel like they're
really
kind of long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his wife had trimmed it, but I think she trimmed it too much. So he had the little.
The wee man.
He had the tube top. He had the little midriff. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the 80s when the stomach would be out, right? The shirt would be up to here, type of thing, right? Like I said, oh,
with the
my
stonewashed
goodness.
jeans on.
Right.
Damn.
Man.
And what you? Oh, do you even rock manly?
I got
badger,
the what's the one again? Where
No, I don't know. It's the free one that you took.
Right.
I know. I know the same. I'm
what's-
talking about the
what's-
kind.
No, he asked you if it's the free one.
What's the free one that you took?
Was it the free one?
Was it the free one?
Was it
Cuban-
the free
Cuban
one?
cognac.
Was it the free one that you took?
Yes, the Cuban one. Cognac and Cuban.
We look.
It's the one that's for the.
Can two
for the
walk
little
together
hands.
except they
The
be
bomb.
agreed?
You
I
got
rock
the bomb.
The bomb.
The bomb.
Okay.
Hey, so that's cedar leather.
Uh-huh.
Say that 5 times fast.
I know. Cedar leather.
vanilla.
Cedar leather.
Cedar leather.
Vanilla.
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 Uh-huh.
I know you would think, but that you're smelling very manly and
All praise.
musky right now, right?
Right, right.
Either that or like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction.
Oh, no. Oh, God. God damn.
That movie.
If you know, you know.
Hey, I really like that one. Matter of fact, I'm going to get beardgains.com to get my cedar leather vanilla.
Damn, you said
Today.
that. You said that with that
He knows. what's
southern proper country.
I practice like
Accent
in
that
3
you got.
seconds. I practice it. So look, check this out. Oh, Dick, what you got? What you rocking today?
Distinguished.
Of course.
Because I was feeling distinguished until I came in.
Right.
Damn,
The
word.
debacle
Damn,
with
word.
the nameless faceless
Damn, not the
brothers.
debacle. Damn.
Nameless, faceless.
He was distinguished until the debacle.
Until the debacle. What else you got?
lost
Boots?
your
So
time.
check this
Let's do
out.
the rest of this housekeeping so we could get
Yes,
into
so we
the
could get-
regular plus, not
Right.
the power.
So
not-
check this
not
out.
The plus plus.
Who got your power hour tumblers?
We sold out.
Oh, it's over with for that. So to the next thing. Because
Well, I'm gonna order more.
Well, we got to.
I gotta order more. We sold out of the power hour.
That's it.
Tumblers.
And
yeah.
we appreciate y'all support, but guess what?
Hey, don't put these in the dishwasher, man.
Uh-oh.
Somebody was like, "Can I get another sticker?" I said, "No, this is printed on."
Yeah.
And I want to say you want to probably hand wash these
Yeah.
because people don't follow the top rack safe thing
Dang.
in the dishwasher, but I would hand wash them. All right.
Man. So, prayers going up for you. But back to our regular scheduled program. We got the Power Hour Plus hoodies. Roll that beautiful footage. The Power Hour hoodie.
I want the baby blue.
Carolina blue.
Yeah, that's Carolina blue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Carolina blue.
That look good.
I heard Asher was like, "Are they gonna wear that blue?" Is he?
He's, you know what?
No, they
Those
wanted
two
me
are
to
the
put on
same.
them.
These two are the same.
He said, "I ain't gonna wear that blue."
Yeah.
Michael Jordan wore that blue.
Right, right.
I didn't say it like that.
You did though. It
I
sounded
rock.
something
Hey,
like
it look fine.
it sounded something like it.
Carolina blue.
Hey,
good.
but check this out right now. Hey, support the show. You got your cup and you got your hoodie. You snuggled up watching the show on your TV, on your phone, iPad, whatever it is, you tuned in to the Power Hour Plus.
Hey, it's a hot cold tumbler, by the way.
That's right.
So if you want a tea,
right?
You want a little cafecito while you're watching. I know it's late. No, it's late on the East Coast. You want a little cafecito. And you want to put some ice in there and put something cold.
That's right.
You could do it for both.
It's versatile.
Do it for both. It's versatile.
But guess what else we got going on?
Hey, but them hoodies.
Hey,
you want to rock them hoodies?
Grab the hoodies.
I know. Summer's around the corner, but it's still spring in a lot of places.
Right.
And sometimes it'd be brick with the AC. So you can bring your Power Hour hoodie and represent. All right.
That's right. And on top of that, we in a huge clearance sale right now. Play that. Check this out right now on originalroyalty.com. We are in our huge clearance sale. We got items up to 80% off, something for the whole family. Get your merch. We're going to drop the link in the chat.
Yeah.
Let's get on it.
We're trying to make room for some big things. Some big things coming,
big
brethren.
things.
Some big things, brethren.
That's right.
We got some big things coming, all right? I don't want to say exactly when. It's fluid, but sometime shortly after Passover, we're gonna have some razzle dazzle for you. All right, so you could go into the spring and summer looking fresh.
That's right.
But
in the meantime, we gotta make space for all the new merch that we got.
Yes. So limited sizes on some of the clearance stuff, but help us clear it out. Take advantage of some extreme discounts, and I could bring in all this new stuff.
That's it. So let's get it going. All right, that's all the housekeeping. Oh, let us know where you're from in the comments. That's all the housekeeping.
Let me see. I know I got a delay. Hold on. Let me see if I got it right. I'm waiting for the camera to be on me. They're still looking at you making faces.
Oh, God.
Oh,
boom. That is. Man, golly, how you do that?
That was on point.
Dang. You got that glow. He like Bruce Leroy over here. Man.
Listen, family, do not forget your donations to the Booster Club, all right? We need your help. We got so many big things we're doing.
Lord have mercy.
We're going to do some big things for Passover law as well.
Right.
And then it's only the new year.
Right.
It just happened.
We just few days into the new year.
Right.
Literally, right?
Yeah.
I know some people might be confused. The Hebrew New Year starts in the spring, brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Right? We only a few days, and we just finished the first new moon.
We did.
All right, prior to Passover, which we just in the new year. You can do it by clicking on the QR code. You can do it by along the bottom of the screen in the lower third through the whole show. Donate to the Booster Club, IUIC.fundraising@IsraelUnite.org. We need, and don't think any amount is too small. Real talk. All right. Remember the sister that threw her last farthing in? Let's get that real quick.
Yes, sir.
You were looking for it? You in the spirit? You turning pages?
Yeah.
Somebody get it for me? Come on, y'all. Pull it up. Pull it up. Don't ever feel bad about what you might think is little to give. All right? We need that help. We need that help. Read this.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 26. Verse 26. No, that's not it. It's 10 and 29.
Hey, Mark 12:42.
All right, let's go down.
Come on, y'all.
It's on the way.
Damn, everybody's slow tonight. Hey, come on, let's get them likes up. We got 193 watching, only 115 likes. Share that we live.
This is terrible.
The book of Mark, chapter 12 and verse 41.
Definitely plus today. Go ahead.
And Jesus sat over against the treasury, and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury, and many that were rich cast in much.
Right. First of all, note, it was customary to have a treasury. That's why each school has a treasury. That's why we have these funds. All right. Go ahead. Come on.
Verse 42, and there came a certain poor widow and she threw in her 2 mites, which make a farthing. And he called unto his disciples, and saith unto them, Verily I say unto you, that this poor widow hath cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury.
Why? Does he explain it in this one? Go ahead, come on.
Verse 44, for all they did cast in of their abundance.
Right, meaning it was nothing for them. They probably could have gave more and should have gave more, right? But versus the widow, go ahead, come on.
But she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living.
Right. Now I'm not saying that. Don't be putting yourself in diverse situations to help us out. But my point was, don't feel ashamed to give 2 farthings if that's all you could give. Think if everybody would do something like that, we can continue what we're doing, right? We can continue what you're doing. You're gonna see. We're gonna show you some big things. We, it's not like we ever don't show you the fruits of where your donations go and how we do this stuff, right? So make sure that you go ahead and hit that for the Booster Club. All right, you can even text to donate to the Booster Club. We got the text number right there if you want to do that.
Man.
You can even set up a monthly one. All right, before we get into the meat and potatoes.
Okay.
Meat and potatoes go so good together.
It does. Fire.
It for real, though.
Something about potatoes and the beef.
In a crock pot.
Man,
In the
saucy.
crock pot.
Saucy, too, right? Damn. Potatoes. I think people be sleeping on potatoes. Anyway, let me not digress from food. Speaking of food,
That's like 1,500 calories.
let's do our little health piece before we get into the main
Right.
part of the show. Let's go.
Scientific revolution, that we're no longer going to look at mind and body as separate, that we're going to look at these as the same thing. If you exercise, it makes your brain healthier.
I'm in therapy right now, doing some hard stuff. It's hard. It's really hard. And I'm also lifting for the first time in my life. But it feels like we need to be doing physical therapy at the same time that we're doing the emotional stuff.
Yeah, and actually even like if you look at the correlation between psychological stress and autoimmune disorders, very high correlation between psychological stress and fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. Some of the best treatments for those things, counterintuitively, is actually exercise. And exercise has what we call a hormetic effect. If I just said to you, Ken, I'm going to have you do something that's going to raise your blood pressure, raise your heart rate, raise your cortisol, raise your inflammation, raise your reactive oxygen species, you would say, that sounds like death, not doing it. And that is acutely what exercise does. So it's almost like a controlled dose of a stressor that allows you to handle other stress better. So yes, I do think it is important to physically expel energy and move your body, which makes perfect sense when you consider how mankind evolved. The human body is meant for movement. And if you don't do stuff, it gets all wacky. And even like appetite regulation, it actually makes your appetite regulation much better. They've actually shown...
Stop for a second. He's saying a lot, and I know he's almost done. But I want to point that one part out. Initially, you may feel more hungry when you finish a workout or when you start working out.
Yep.
What he's saying is they actually show that when you exercise consistently, it actually helps you regulate your appetite better. You have a propensity to desire more nutrient-dense foods because your body realizes what it needs, right? I don't know if they've done studies on it, but I kind of have a theory. You tend to gravitate towards what your body has been lacking the most. And it's really weird. Like, I've noticed there's times when I want to hit the veggies first. And I'm not a veggie guy. I know they're important. I know that they, that's one thing I definitely could do better on. But sometimes I want the veggies first. Sometimes I want the protein first. Sometimes I want the carbs first, right? I feel like your body kind of knows what it's missing and what it'll look for and what it needs in that moment. But what he's saying is because a lot of people have the misnomer that, oh, my appetite's out of control when I work out. Yeah, maybe initially, but what happens is through consistency you stabilize a rhythm, and it actually makes you able to be more disciplined with your eating. If you're working out seriously enough, because some people go and they're just spinning their wheels. And I get that it's intimidating for some people. Some people don't know what they're doing. You don't even know what really your real limits are.
Right.
I've been talking to you guys trying to get you to understand what how your rep ranges really should be based. Like, it's not like I go in and I count off 12 reps. I always talk to you guys about a range, right? Like I plan for 8 to 12 when I'm doing 8 to 12, right? You guys were like, what does that mean? Do I progressively go down? Now, if I can get 12 across the board, then I do that. But you know what that means? I got to add weight next time. right? It really should look like, and I've showed you like what like like 4 or 5 sets should look like for me. And usually it starts at 12. Maybe I get 10 or 11 on the next set. Maybe I get 8, or 9 on the subsequent set, right? And that's a good set. I don't intentionally try to mess with it. That's what you're trying to build to. If I can do 12, 15 reps across the board,
it's too light.
Too light.
Yep.
You're not stressing yourself enough, right? Same thing with your cardio. The cardio that's most impactful, you should have a range of it, right? So you should have somewhere you're just kind of walking and, cool up, warm up and cool down. Not for muscle's sake, but just to kind of, the heart rate zones. But without getting too technical for people, the bulk of your cardio session should be where, like, you can still talk, but you don't want to. Right? Like, that's a good gauge without getting into zones. Like I can probably carry a conversation, but I'm going to be straining a little bit while I do so. So I kind of don't really want to talk. You shouldn't be so winded that you can't talk, but it should be more of a like, I'd rather not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather not talk right this moment because that's where my intensity is, right? And that's kind of what you want to aim for when you balance your fitness. And when I say aim for, I mean you get there. Not everybody's going to start there. Maybe you hit that with a slow walk. I know people who are very obese. Just a walk, just a walk from the couch to their fridge got them huffing and puffing.
Damn.
Right? If they're that jacked up. But the point is, you got to. We're showing you that the physical activity, and do something that you like, but it should be a form of resistance training, and a form of cardio, both, and a little bit higher emphasis on the resistance training. And when I say resistance, that could be doing push-ups against a wall for some people, and that's a lot for them, right? That's how you start with push-up progressions too, right? Start against a wall. Right, and then maybe put your legs out further next time, right, and put a little more stress on it, right. Then start with like on your knees and only push your upper body, right. Then progress to some full out, right. This is in absence of weights, but resistance training is anything where you're doing something that provides resistance to your body. That could be pulling something, that could be pulling yourself up something, that could be pushing away from something, and you can figure those things out. You just want to be able to gauge it by adding more resistance, or, you change the difficulty, and that's how you add resistance. The easiest way, realistically, especially now with the way they got some of these machines, it's almost impossible to not do the exercise right. Some of them.
Facts.
It puts you into a plane where you're going to hit it right and you're going to get the stimulus that you need. But resistance training and cardio, and what he's saying is that there's mental benefits to it. It'll limit your cognitive decline. It makes you more efficient at handling stressors. It's an acute dose of stress. People be like, damn, how do you handle all the stuff that you do? And don't get me wrong, I bend. I don't necessarily break, but I bend. But I think a lot of the reason I'm able to handle a lot of things is because of my consistency in my workout programs. I do believe that it gives you what's called resiliency.
The vessel is built to sustain the pressure.
Right. It gives you resiliency and mental fortitude. Right. There was another one. I don't know if you guys could look for it. I don't know if I ever put it, but it says something along the lines of physical, like weight training, resistance training, should be the more enjoyable aspect of it. And what they mean by it is that's the thing that's going to help you build good habits and feel good about yourself. Cardio builds mental toughness. Because the cardio is the one where you just right.
Yeah, I never really enjoyed cardio.
Because even when the weights are hard, right? Like
you
there's
want to push through it,
right?
Yeah.
So
because
nice.
The rewards are immediate.
Yeah.
Cardio, you don't really see the benefits of it unless you're training for a race. Unless you really, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it like that's the one where you got to convince yourself to keep lifting that foot, keep pedaling. Right. Keep walking that stair, whatever it is that you're doing. Lift them knees up and keep moving forward. The weights, you're kind of like, that thing feels great.
You get the pump. You know, it's rewarding.
Or you feel dope because you lifted a new PR or whatever it is, right? So it builds mental resilience and mental fortitude when you do that stuff. Go ahead, play this.
Do stuff. It gets all wacky. And even like appetite regulation, it actually makes your appetite regulation much better. They've actually shown that your brain becomes more sensitive to your satiety signals, your body's own internal hunger cues. Exercise, satiety cues, reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, improve cognitive function. It seems to be pretty clear here that doing hard physical stuff can help with hard mental stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
That's that very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured.
Mm-hmm.
So even being well nurtured, it's like you said, goes into the discipline of even exercising like that.
Yeah. Right. Because, and I've always said, I mean, if you can just start, and this goes, I think it'll carry over into anything. If you can build discipline around getting up and scheduling your workout, whether you like to do it in the morning or doing it after a long day of work, which I think is tougher.
I enjoy that late night.
I think it's tougher at the end of your day.
Because you got to commit to doing it.
You're going to give yourself more excuses.
I used to like it late night.
I prefer first thing. Lately, I haven't been able to do it necessarily first thing on every time that I go. So it's more like midday, lunch type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's progressively harder the later in the day you do it. Because too much stuff could come up, too many things. Like my experience has been, if that end of the day is tough, bro.
Yeah.
And especially if you go home first, it's hard to leave again to go out to the gym and stuff like that.
My thing is just waking up in the morning to
Yeah,
go to the
yeah.
gym. That's the
And
hardest thing.
But then if that goes into the 4 pillars, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if you're building a regimen around those things and you know that those are the major things, it's funny because we'll look for every hack, watch every video, eliminate this, drink that, do all this other stuff, and not make the progress and it not be as impactful as it could be as those 4 pillars and those foundational things. And those are the things that really move the marker like profoundly. And then the other stuff you add in on top after, you know, nutritious meals, adequate sleep, a sleep schedule, right? Not everybody, I understand some people have shift work and stuff. So maybe some nights you could go at 10, some nights you got to go at 12. But keep that rhythm, right? Exercise. And then, of course, it all starts with your spiritual foundation, you know, and if we can repent and keep these laws and deny ourselves the things that are pleasurable to us, which is sin, then the rest of it shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah, it should be easy, right? That's how
it
we
should be.
think.
It should be.
Yeah.
Notice he said that exercise is going to help you get over that depression hump.
Right.
It's going to help you get over that anxiety hump. You know, like the words in the Bible don't mean anything without application. And that goes for everything in life. Like, it's just words on a page if you don't do anything about it. I'll give you the biggest case study that we could ever do about it. Look at Christianity. They got the words in the Bible.
That's right.
And they're the most hypocritical, right? Listen, we all know that even us as Israelites can sin, but they're out there teaching there's no sin. They use the same Bible. We know it's not for them.
Yeah.
And then they move in a manner that's not conducive to what Christ walked like, what any of the forefathers in the scriptures walked like, you know? So you got all those type of things to think about. And yes, it applies to women as well. Stop with the old, you guys are like, what? That's like from the 50s, like, women shouldn't exercise. They should use, like, and they market to you stuff that's for women.
That's been proven wrong already.
Right.
It's foolish.
There's a reason that a lot of you sisters think pregnancy is an illness.
Jesus.
Straight up.
That's a new thing?
I just gave birth. I'm so messed up. I can't do anything. What happened to our sisters that right? Can we get that in Exodus about the sisters and the midwives?
Lively women.
Lively.
I'm going to get that. I'm going to explain to you what lively is. In order for them to say that, that means that they knew that the Israelite women were lively. Right? And I'm going to explain to you what lively was for that time, because there wasn't a gym that they were going to.
Right.
I'm going to explain to you what the lively was. Go ahead. Come on.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 19. And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
Right. Like, where's it? We believe we're royal. We believe we're special and above all nations. And then you get some of these sisters, oh, me duele esto. This hurts. That hurts. I can't move. I can't do this. I can't do that. I got kids. I got a job. I got a husband. Oh.
Man, when it says we are weaker through time, that is 100%
right.
true. Look how we think.
Read.
For they are lively and are delivered the midwives come in unto them.
And I'm going to tell you what that means when they're lively. What type of work were they doing?
Women's work.
what type of women's work were they doing in that time? What was women's work in that time?
Bondage.
They were in bondage too, the Hebrew women.
Right.
So they were working fields.
Yep.
They were working with their hands. They were doing stuff like that. It wasn't like, some of these sisters got office jobs.
at
and then they're
home.
like, oh, I'm so tired. And I'm not saying you can't be tired from an office job, but my point is, look at how lively they were. The exercise that they were doing was they would pop a baby out, throw the baby on the back, and keep working.
That's it. Yeah.
Different times, bro.
Bruh.
Different times.
Wow.
What happened to those women?
I don't know.
I tell you, I'll give that to my wife all day, bro. She was working with me in my cleaning business up until the night before, like 8 to 10 hours before she went in to deliver my daughter.
Damn. Lively.
I'm talking about I remember I had my cleaning business. We was cleaning this big daycare we used to clean every night.
Right.
And we was there on a Sunday night at 9, 10 o'clock at night. She there mopping and everything, and I'm like, no. She's like, yo, I'm good. Just mopping, sweeping, cleaning. Right. Went to sleep, woke up the next day, went to deliver my daughter, 8 a.m.
Wow. That's wild.
Different times.
You got these women, like, I'm pregnant, like it's an illness. And then after the fact. Now, if you have a C-section, I've said this before, that's different.
Yeah.
Right? You got stitches and all that. You got to recover from that stuff. But,
bro, the movement and the exercise is good for the pregnancy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like.
Right. It's extremely good.
Yeah.
That's probably how they were able to deliver.
That's why, you don't got to gain all that weight when you're pregnant.
Right.
They like the excuse to
That's a choice.
To be slothful.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Where's that spirit? Where them sisters?
Right.
Where them lively Hebrew sisters today?
Deacon, from what I heard, word on the street, some sisters is running marathons now in Phoenix.
Yeah, you mean like little halfers and
Soldier Ezekiel's. Yeah.
But you know what? I remember when I was doing triathlons, I still had a belly.
Nah, you can still keep a.
I was doing Olympic length triathlons. If you don't know what that is, that's just under 1 mile swimming in open water, right? Open water,
ocean.
Ocean, lake,
right?
River, right? You get out, you run with your wetsuit up to your bike. You bike 26 miles, right? You come back, you throw on your running sneakers, and you run 6 miles consecutively.
Yeah, that's
right?
wild.
Yeah, that's different.
And my arms and my legs was ripped, but I had a belly like you would not believe.
Damn.
Because I didn't take nutrition serious. So some of these sisters that's running these marathons still looking a little chunky.
This is true.
So I'm just saying, all praises that they lively, but I'm gonna see if they lively in their offices. Give me the list. Because if they can run marathons, I should never hear like, oh my gosh, I had such a rough week. I can't do this for the school.
This is true.
I want the list. I want the list. Listen, where them sisters at? Where's that spirit at?
Right.
Look, I'm not saying we don't all have aches and pains and whatever, but that's that mental fortitude. That's the other part of the lively that they're not talking about, right? Like being able to look past those things and move forward, right? So just think of the context of what them sisters was doing in that day in bondage.
Built different.
Built different.
Even during 1619 with the slave trade, 1492, same thing.
In that captivity as well.
And that might have been tougher. Depending on the situation.
Now they're on captivity. They get medical leave for what, 4 or 5 months?
Oh, that's right. That's true. That's
this
true.
Captivity,
America just dilutes everything, bro. I'm telling you.
That's that a gift destroyeth the heart. Now your mind, you done lost the mental fortitude
Fed
your
by the
foremothers had. Just through the gifts.
I'm telling you, it'd be crazy, bro. It'd be crazy. And supposedly women's supposed to have a higher pain threshold than men.
Right. I've heard
like,
that.
They love to get on us when we have a cold, right? Like you seen all the stuff like for a man to understand what it's like for a woman to give birth.
Yeah, that's real shit.
Just a man having a cold, right? That's the joke like on the internet.
Right.
And I know it's an exaggeration, right? But like they're supposed to be proud of their resilience.
Right.
Where that at? And studies prove that they actually most of them, they were built that way to be able to have a higher pain threshold than men because of the childbearing process.
Right.
Yeah, that's how the Lord made them.
So don't believe them when they say they jacked up. Oh, man. Oh, I was talking about the triathlon, T. That triathlon, if you look it up, I used to do Olympic length triathlons. And it's a swim, bike, run consecutively, right? They have sprint ones, which is like half-mile swim, 12-mile bike and 3-mile run. And those are usually shorter, but you have Olympic length. Then you have Ironmans, half Ironmans. I think Ironman's like a 5-mile swim.
That's more you hear a lot of that in California.
I think it's like a 100-mile bike ride and then like a marathon you run.
Yeah.
I was gonna do one. I was training to do an Ironman.
Yeah, that's different.
Truth, I got busy in the truth. Takes a lot to train for those things.
The endurance.
Yeah. And a lot of training was on Saturdays. So like, you know, I started the same year that I repented, but like I knew that I was probably gonna commit more to this as I was learning.
Right.
And I said, let me do as much as I can. So I think I did like 4 races that year to try to, like, to try to get it in because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it again. You know,
I've been looking for my next marathon, but there's nothing on. Everything's Saturdays. Everything is Saturdays.
Yeah, that's how they do it. Everything's on Saturdays.
I found one on Sunday, but it's not the course isn't what I want.
Bro, and I tell you, I've been trying to get us to do like a team race and stuff. Like, because I did it with some of the brothers. I think Deacon Isaac, myself, Captain Zeph tapped out. His back. He's like, oh, my back, I can't do it. We had Brother Ramaya at the time. He did it with us. And then I think my brother did it. So we wound up doing a Spartan race in New York. And then I did a Tough Mudder. But I did it with my students for my self-defense, for my Krav Maga studio.
Yep.
I did a Tough Mudder, and that was great. That was 10 miles with the obstacles. And I was going to do a Spartan, the fuller one, the middle one. I forgot what it's called.
That's the one that Officer Revenge.
And I hurt my back on the quest that year because, you know, and I was slimmer, I think, but not, it wasn't much. Like I had lost like 5 pounds, but, and I came back from the quest because, but all that belly weight, like, was pulling on my back.
Right.
And I remember I came back from the quest, and just the quest, just going out teaching every day on the quest, jacked my back up so bad that I was jacked up for like 3 or 4 months with my back. I'm telling you, man, we're not meant to be fat.
Big back problems.
Yeah, we're not meant to be fat. Now I was big front. I had a front butt. It wasn't even big back. It was a front. It was a front butt. But I've been trying to get brothers to do it here, and everybody's like, I don't know if I could do that. Yeah. Even with the captains, I paid. We all like paid for it to reserve the spot. I keep having to defer every year because they full of crap.
Damn. Let's do it.
Trying to get it.
I'm down.
Shem is down. Shem will jump on it with me.
Right.
Isaac's always been kind of with it with me. Like he used to do bodybuilding. Right. He was a boxer. So Deacon Isaac be rocking with the stuff. But anyway, that's the fitness stuff. I digress. Let's jump into some meat and potatoes. Wait, did you have something?
No. Well, yeah. Real quick. Psalms 19 and 7.
Go ahead.
Let's end it like that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect.
So this is to sum it all up. The law of the Lord is perfect. These are just words on a book if we don't apply the things that are being spoken here. So it says the law of the Lord is perfect. Now, mind you, Deke, the law talks about exercise.
Right.
The law talks about the woman being lively. So you could take an example from that if you're a woman, so you don't have to complain anymore or don't have the excuse to complain anymore about the pregnancies and the pain and so forth.
Right.
There's so much stuff in here. The law of the Lord is perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing can nullify this word. Go ahead.
The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul.
And it converts the soul. But like Deke said, you have to apply it.
Right.
And that's what we don't do.
Hey, Sister J, you know what? I'll always say this. I think I've seen you more recently in the show, so you probably haven't seen all the other stuff I talk about fitness. I'm speaking generally. I know some people have certain things that limit them, whether that be diagnosed professionally. And I say that because Israel has a tendency to self-diagnose themselves. I got this, I got that.
Hey, Loki, I used to do that. Get on a MedMD and then you start
WebMD. I know you go on WebMD, you got like freaking Ebola.
Right. Like,
put all your symptoms in. If the shoe fits, wear it. Like if we take a honest self-examination assessment of ourselves, we know what we're able to do and not do and what our excuses are. I did a class called Your Excuses Are Lies.
Right.
That was a great
fire class.
You can find that on IUIC Phoenix page that you're watching from right now. Go to the videos. You could search up Your Excuses Are Lies. You'll know if it fits you or not. Right? Some people do have things. Some people have So I'm not speaking in generalities. Right?
Yeah.
Usually, people be like, oh, but
there's
what if
outliers.
I got this? Right? There's exceptions. But they're called exceptions for a reason because that means it's a few.
Yeah.
I see far too many of our people not living up to that standard, right? We're working on our spirit. Now we got to nurture the physical
body.
after it, right? We read in Corinthians about the seed, right?
Right.
And the part that you got to consider with the seed is that the seed has to be protected, has to be nourished, has to be cultivated, and it has to survive till the harvest time.
Right.
So we got to keep ourselves in that way, this being our seed, our vessel, right? Until we blossom into whatever it is we are, right? And for us, we know that means we want to be in those heavenly forms and in that heavenly body that's prepared for us.
So we got to preserve.
So you have to, you don't just throw a seed haphazardly anywhere. It's purposeful. It's dedicated, right? And in husbandry, you do what's necessary so that you can get it, right? A tomato might require certain water and light and soil.
Right.
A cucumber might require something different versus a potato, versus a carrot, versus an orange or an apple or a lime, right? We all have to still preserve that, because what you really want is the full potential of what that seed can bring forth, right? And we got to think about that as well. So we can't just take it lightly. Don't let this whole culture that we live in of, oh, you're fat shaming and this and that. It's unhealthy.
Right.
Losing weight into a healthy range, and I'm not even talking looking like a model or a bodybuilder, but just into a healthy, respectable range, decreases all-cause mortality. What that means is all those metabolic syndrome diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, different heart diseases, different lung diseases that you have, even mental diseases, gets reduced when we exercise consistently, when we eat more nutritiously and moderately.
Hey, that's part of the spiritual warfare. Even just having to remove all the mindset that we have today in regards to all that.
Right.
Can I grab some real quick?
Go ahead, bring it out.
Get 1 Corinthians 6
and then
20.
I want to start with Godfrey video, the one I sent
6 and 20
about the Latinos. He said Trump is serious.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 20.
Yeah, we're gonna start with that.
So just like the video, and also just like what Deacon just brought it back to, not only do we want to prosper in our spirit, getting our souls right, but it's got to correlate right with our body. Read that.
For ye are bought with a price.
We've all been bought with a price. We've been redeemed with a price. The price that's already been paid is Christ's blood. Read.
Therefore, glory God in your body.
Therefore what?
Glory God in your body.
Glorify God in your body. Read.
And in your spirit.
And in your spirit. So just like we come and we strive to glorify God in our spirits, we got to also do it in our body. Read.
Which are God's.
It's just a loaner. This body, the washing, the regeneration, what we got right now, it's a gift, but it's a loaner.
Lent to us.
All right, a lot of times is it in Corinthians about your body is your temple?
Yes, sir.
Get that real quick. A lot of times we look at that, and we'll pull that a lot for brothers who want to be doing marijuana, right?
Drugs, right.
All right, and they try to say now there was a study for all you doctrine that every green herb means you can smoke marijuana. It says it increases heart disease,
heart attacks,
right? Heart attacks, right? So no, it's harmless, right? Not only is it freaking put you in spirits,
cloud your judgment,
right? Okay, read this real quick.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 3 and verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God,
right?
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you,
right? So don't you think you see how people treat sounding like one of the Levi men, one of the Levi brothers. You see how people treat the temples and the churches and the buildings and stuff like that, right? Yep. That's not wrong. You should have respect unto where you fellowship, right? Yep. Even when we had a temple, there was ways that we needed to keep it and arrange it, right? There was customs that we had to follow, all right, to keep it to a certain standard.
Right.
He's making that example so that you can realize the same. Don't disrespect your body, basically, right? Now think about it. He's talking about it from the Greek perspective because why? People were defiling themselves by being into homosexuality and different things like that, right? But that's why. Remember, he says bodily exercise profiteth little because he didn't want us into that mentality like you read in the Maccabees with gymnasiums by the temple and stuff like that, right? Yep. There's a culture that comes behind that, and that's what you need to kind of not dive into. I'm not saying you can't be a professional in that field, but I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. The majority of stuff you see fitness online, especially if it's women related, is actually previews of their OnlyFans.
That's it. That's it.
Straight up.
They're using fitness as a means to show their ass so that you can go watch their pornographic material on their private sites. Right? So it's not really right that there's a healthy, inspiring way to do it in modesty.
Right.
If you have solid information that you're going to give people on how you're doing. So that goes to show you the spirit that's behind that, right? You can get caught up into a worship of the body, and that's what the Greeks were doing, right? So when he says it profiteth little, a lot of times we always took that to mean, whatever. But remember that he's what he's letting you know is that don't get caught up in the. Remember, you always got to think what was happening. It's the Greco-Roman area, the emphasis of what they were putting, and it's nothing new, right? It's judgments like a ring, right? Nothing new under the sun,
right?
That thing is coming back heavy today, right? And you have these people that are just like out there, and there's people who do it well, and they're humble about it, and they're modest about it. And then there's other people that they do it with ulterior motives, and then there's a lifestyle and a culture that comes behind that that's not conducive to keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Don't fall into that. So, but he's telling you, put respect on your body as if you put respect on the temple.
Right.
This is where your spirit dwells. For better or worse, this is what God gave you in this regeneration.
Right.
So treat it with the respect that it deserves and stop defiling it in multiple ways, spiritually, physically, through the various forms of sin that defile your body, right? Gluttony is a sin, right? I think I brought it out. Was it in Ezekiel 16?
Yeah, that the
on Friday.
Yeah. What was
get that about the excess of bread? I'm going to show you that.
I think it was in the 30s or something, right, Deke?
Hey, that happens a lot too with the trainers. Hey, I'm gonna keep it real talk, Ben Eliu. I was a trainer for a while. I was certified as a trainer because I've gone through like I've always been into being physically active, and there was a time where I was, in great shape, then I got messed up, then good shape, then got messed up, and then now kind of I'm having a renaissance, but it's inspired by more than vanity, as it was back then. And I know what it was like. I was trying to spit game to the female clients that I was training, right? Like I was subtly pushing up on them. Some of them, I wasn't even trying to push up on them, and they were pushing up on me.
Right.
I had to get out of that freaking business, man. Like I said, I could never go back. Bro,
That's
straight
very
up.
common.
I'm there, because one of the, you might help them stretch. Bro, they all putting their behind up in my crotch while I'm helping them stretch. Like,
that's very common.
They hunt for the precious soul.
Yeah.
They be on the hunt.
I'm there on fire trying to train them, and they're trying to seduce me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they think you burned.
I said, oh, man, I can't do this while I'm in the truth.
Right.
I said, I wanted to get back into it. I had stopped for a while prior to the truth. I said, I can't go into this.
Prudent man.
I was going to open up like there was like a franchise concept I was going to open up. It was like a high-end personal training studio.
Right.
And I realized, like, I said, I can't do this in this walk. I said, I can't. And I'm not saying you can't. You could be in fitness and stuff like that, but that whole little private session stuff and things like that.
Now, Krav Maga is something different.
You
There's
can't
only
do
so
that,
much
man.
you could do.
But these women is
Nowadays,
we're different times.
and then
too.
there's some trainers that they do that on purpose. That's what Ben Eli was saying. They take advantage of the low self-esteem women.
Right.
They're getting that attention from the trainer.
leading away silly women.
You know what I'm
leading
saying?
away-
Right. And remember, men sleep down.
Right.
So you're thinking he's making you feel like you're the top thing in the world.
Right.
He just trying to get off where he could vomit somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Crazy work.
Right. So, there's a lot that comes with that. Right. Where did I say go? I want to show the gluttony.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, verse 49.
Uh-huh.
Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom.
He's talking about part of the issues, what was going on in Sodom. Go ahead. Come on.
Pride.
Uh-huh.
Fullness of bread.
Fullness of bread. One of the things that they were telling you is that they were gluttonous people, right? Fullness of bread. That's going into excess, surfeiting on meats, right? A lot of times we think meats means exclusively meats.
Right.
A lot of times you read meat in the scripture and it means grains, it means other things, right? So it just means food, right? Sustenance, right? So a lot, and yes, we shouldn't overdo it on meats. We know that protein is important, but it doesn't always have to come from meat. You just meet your protein goals from a variety of sources, right? But you look at this and it's telling you, right? One of the things that they were condemned for was fullness of bread, right? Go ahead, you can finish the whole verse. Go ahead, read it from the top.
Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, and the abundance of idleness was in her was in her and in her daughters.
Right.
Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor
so he
and
was
needy.
saying idleness, right? So they were basically
those are connected too.
Those
D.
are all connected. Those are spirits that kind of rock together, right? That kind of rock together, and with that comes that type of excess. So
because pride will tell you, "Nah, I'm not gonna listen to you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna continue doing what I do."
Yep. Yep.
Crazy work.
Yeah, you're right. We're honest with them, and they take that as offense, right? Because, and again, that's another dynamic. I've spoken about it on the show. They can go to social media and get artificial attention,
right,
and likes and validation.
Yep.
And it's fake, right? Because these aren't real people, and if they do meet up with them, they don't really want anything meaningful with them. So when you give them real, they're like, well, how come everybody on social media is telling me this, that, and the other? Well, you might be filtering yourself out. Right. You might be putting some seductive type of stuff on there for your validation. And even if you aren't, men are such horn dogs. And remember,
all bread is sweet.
Men are not hypergamous.
Right.
Women are hypergamous. They're seeking the upper echelon of men. Men's just seeking a woman.
Period.
Right?
All bread is sweet. That's what the Bible says.
And it creates this false security in their mind that they think they're the shit. And a lot of them aren't.
Right.
Even if you got relatively good looks, you have to realize that men will dote on you to get what they want.
Until.
But anyway, I'm not going to make this the marriage show.
Right.
All right? I'm not going to make this the marriage show. We are going into Forging of the Bow, Exile, and the Union of the Two Sticks. Now, we're going to spend a lot of time on the Exile. We're going to spend a lot of time on the Exile. I wanted to plus it because I want to get into the Union of the Two Sticks, because we're still talking about the Young Lords and the Black Panthers.
We ain't finished.
And the unity that we need to have as a people. I don't know how far I'm going to get with that because I got to talk about the Exile piece, right? So I told them leave the title, throw the Exile in. If anything, we'll kind of repackage it and finish the other part if we need to. So let's start with this, and then I'm going to read the article that sparked me wanting to go into what I mean by exile. And again, I'm going to call out later. This is why it's important that we have your support for the booster, because in teaching this word, just like, and have that scripture ready about his judgments like a ring. Also get me Ecclesiastes 1, right, about nothing new under the sun. And just have those ready. Let's watch this first to set the tone, right? Let's watch this first to set the tone.
Trump isn't bluffing, is he? Jesus Christ. There were two guys on a horse trying to capture me. It was weird.
So stop for a second. Stop. He's talking about that because that's what happened when Levi came over here. Border agents. There was images online of them on the horse trying to capture them. Godfrey goes in comedically very hard and sometimes seriously. I've seen him in some serious components, but he's a comedian, so he always throws a little jest in it. He's a Southern Kingdom brother. I believe he's Southern Kingdom. That very firmly is aware of Northern Kingdom, no matter what shade you are, is in the same plight.
So he got sense.
Southern Kingdom. Yes, he understands that so-called Latinos and Native Indigenous are treated the same. Remember, I've gone over this before. There's a white passing element to Latinos that happens that allows them, because of certain physical characteristics, whether it be your shade, slight difference in features, that you get a little more marginal acceptance, if I want to call it that,
right, by
Esau and other races. And that gets convoluted, much like we were talking about the women and the attention they get from men makes them think that it's a real, genuine, sincere thing, and they use that as a representation of their worth. Likewise, there's a lot of Northern Kingdom and even some of the lighter variety of Southern Kingdom that are what's called white passing. Meaning they get past the initial guards and barriers and stereotypes of so-called Edomites and other nations that hate us because of those things. But it's never the same. And you have these instances, and now it's not instances, but it's extremely overt. It's prevalently obvious, the disdain and hatred that they have for Latinos as much as they have for Southern Kingdom. Why? Because it's Israel.
Right.
That part.
And at the end of the day, the spirit that's in Esau is to hate Jacob.
Yeah, and the Lord is revealing
that in Genesis,
was
27:41, and it goes into his perpetual hatred that he has for him, right? Because of the blessing that Jacob has. There's something in their bones that makes them realize that they don't like us.
Yes.
And you're not going to rationalize with them. The stuff that I see they say to justify, like they're, for as smart as the Bible says they are, it doesn't mean every single one in that race is.
Right, that's a good point.
I'll put it like that. All right, a lot of them are simple. Anyway, Godfrey, in his humor in this, I see his anger towards Latinos who don't realize that they're the same.
Same people. Yeah.
They're the same people, right? And we have to take those blocks out of our head too, right? As a people as well as we move to unify in this walk. And I'm speaking more so to people who might not be fully persuaded with us, who might not be even with us, but are on the fence and they're hearing the scriptures and they're proving themselves and they're persuading themselves whether this is real for them or not, versus the ones that are with us. But there is an element that's with us that still has these type of things as well. And we got to put that stuff aside. I've said this before. It's on both sides, right? Can we get that in Isaiah about the vexation and the envy?
Yes, sir.
It's on both sides of the coin, right? I'm going to briefly address the within, and then we'll talk about the without with Godfrey. We're going to run back to that video, and I'm going to show you something that's popping off. And even if it doesn't explode the way I think it will now, it's going to move to that, if not now, at some point, because what we're doing is seeing shades of where their sentiment is, and that's not going to get better, right? This is the age of decadence. It's going to devolve. You're only going to see it get worse, and even if there's a time where it retracts a little bit, space between the contractions, when it comes back, it's going to continue to come back with full force, right? Go ahead, read this.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut
this
off.
Bible, when we preach this salvation, when we preach the Christ of the scriptures, all right, you're going to see this division that is spiritual from the time of the end of Solomon's reign and the division of the northern kingdom and southern kingdom, which you read in the book of Kings. This will help you understand why the New Testament goes to great lengths to try to talk about Gentiles and talk about being grafted in again, all right? When it talks about redemption, right? Meaning again, right? Whenever you see re, it means again, meaning it was once to them and now they're getting it back, right? There's a spirit that's supposed to come with that, and the only thing that's going to break down that middle wall of partition is us accepting these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read this again.
The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off.
So it's letting you know that Ephraim had a spirit of envy. And this goes back to what? We have 10 parts in David, right? You guys aren't giving us our fair share in the kingdom and the inheritance. You're treating us, wrongly.
Right.
That's a spiritual thing that stayed there, right? Go ahead, come on.
Ephraim shall not envy Judah.
Right, and this is the spirit that we have to fight to move in. Northern Kingdom, so-called Latinos, should not have whatever animosity you have towards so-called Southern Kingdom, because it's based on an ancient spiritual division that the Lord intended, but he did away with when Christ died. Right? Go ahead, come on.
And Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
Right, and Judah then shall not vex Ephraim in that. So this is sort of call out. I've said this multiple times during the week. During the shows, especially when I'm going into the unity piece, I feel like a lot of times, and it's warranted, but we also got to take an honest assessment and sit back and see the other side where the reception is not received, right? If we're going to talk unity, we got to talk unity on both ends. A lot of times they're like, Ephraim, stop that. You're going to hear Godfrey talk about this stuff. You're black too. And then when we get here, sometimes the vexation is still present.
Right.
Right? If you see them here and you see them trying to repent and move in the right spirit, then you need to build them up, right? Even if they are moving in a certain spirit, the scripture says, if a man be overtaken in a fault, consider thyself,
Exactly.
right? Don't forget that you have a part to play in this as well. It's not just show up and that's the end of it, right? There has to be that acceptance there and stop the division in your head in regards to that stuff, right? Anyway, go ahead, play this.
bluffing, is he? Jesus Christ. There were two guys on a horse trying to capture me. It was weird. Don't let that white guilt fuck up that joke. Just fucking laugh through it. It's a slavery joke. Fucking go through it. He's rolling back a lot of shit.
Trump is rolling back a lot of
all
stuff.
my Latin friends. Oh, you're such fools.
Right, stop. He said, all my Latin friends, you're such fools.
Damn, he's being real.
You're such fools because of your white passing. Go ahead, come on.
There's a fantastic video of Cubans celebrating Donald Trump. Oh, yeah. Have you seen it? They have the MAGA hats, and they're playing the congas. It's like fucking... Donald Trump is mi favorito. Donald Trump, Donald Trump is mi favorito. Donald Trump, huepa, hey! Donald Trump es mi favorito. Mi favorito presidente número uno. Huepa, tan, 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 tan. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. And I love salsa. And they're jamming. Everyone's like, MAGA, MAGA, dum-ba-dum-bum, MAGA, MAGA, dum. MAGA almost sounds Spanish. MAGA, MAGA, ba-da-da-da-da, ma-da-da.
And that's the
Couple
video
days
below.
ago,
They're
they're
showing
like,
what it was doing there.
But I love you, Donald Trump. He's like, buenos dias. Muy malo.
Oh my God.
A cucaracha, cucaracha.
That's crazy.
I'm so sorry, so sorry. Muy malo. Adios, amigos. Buenos tardes. Goodbye. Anything with an O is Spanish. We're taking it away. Potato, tomato, I don't give a shit. It's all Spanish. How can you do this to us, Donald Trump? We have a party. Please. I laughed for 20 minutes. That's what you get. Some Latinos, not all, some of you Latinos really think you're special. You really. Sometimes I love when a nice racist white man just puts you in your place.
Yep.
You know?
I'm going to show you that's biblical.
See, there's
why
that white.
needs to happen.
Laugh, white man. Go through it. Come on, goddammit. This is your time. It's about fucking time we're back.
A lot of white men are going to be standing like this from now on.
You thought you had your rights, huh?
You thought you had your rights.
It's about good. We've been waiting on this day.
Man.
Get Jose at 5:15. Get Jose at 5:15. I'm gonna show you why this is important. This is why I agree with him. Good for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for you. I love it. I love what's happening. I'm optimistic. It fills me with optimism and hope.
Right.
Because I see what we've been preaching about for forever.
Right.
Is actually being implemented on a mass scale.
Right.
Right. Yeah, read this real quick. This is why it's important. And this goes for all Israel, but it's very much Hosea speaking to Northern Kingdom at this time. Go ahead, come on.
The book of Hosea, chapter 5 and verse 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense.
Come on, they need to acknowledge their offense. And the only way that they're going to do that is read.
And till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face.
And they'll seek their face. But what's going to drive them to seek, right? Because some people are like, well, there's a lot of Latinos that are in Christianity. No, it's not talking about white supremacist ideology. Right? That says all nations and all people are accepted, because we're living in a time where for years, white people have said, racism doesn't exist in this country anymore.
Right.
What is happening now shows you. And if you think, and I'm not just talking in the media, go to the comment boards where these things are posted,
Right.
and see the stuff that they're saying about you.
Right. There was that video that
And it goes to show you that they were just giving you the politically correct answer.
Absolutely. Yes.
So you need to feel it. You need to see it. You need to see the white man standing there like this, right?
Yeah.
So that what?
In their affliction.
So that you can be afflicted. Come on.
They will seek me early.
And you're going to look to answers.
It's the
and
only
you're
way.
going to realize that white Jesus and that white, it don't matter that you were praying to that white image, that you were idolizing them as gods, as the gold standard with that blanquimiento mentality like we spoke about a couple weeks back in your mind. And you realize that none of that matters. That even if you are blanquito, they're still going to see you like a nugga.
Right.
Because you're an Israelite.
They're going to see you like a nugga. Oh, they say you can't prove it, or like I said, all you got to do is go to the comment boards of these things, and you'll see it.
I was going to say, there was a video, I think you posted it, about it was a big Judite brother in the gym, and he was working out, and then they started making comments about how much they would get for him if he was a slave.
Yep.
And they do that with us.
Yep, I have posted that. Now, there's are we done in that verse?
Yes, sir.
Now, I was reading this article, and it popped up. And I want to read the whole thing, or almost the whole thing. And I want you to, maybe you're going to see what I see, maybe you're not. But my mind went all over the place when I saw this, because we know that they don't like this word.
Right.
They don't like the light that we're bringing to their blasphemy. Give me that in Revelation 2 and 9, and then I want the one in 13, and I think it's 5, where they say they blaspheme the tabernacle and the name of God and all that. But start at 2 and 9.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 9.
Come on.
I know thy works and tribulation.
And I know thy works and thy tribulations. This is Christ speaking to the church of Israelites. Go ahead, come on.
And poverty. But thou art rich.
Why? Because unto us pertain the promises, okay? The covenant, the laws, like you read in Romans 9, according to the flesh, right? Whom Christ came for and died, right? Unto us are those things. That's our wealth. That's our richness. Go ahead, come on.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
Right, I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not. But what?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
But are the synagogue of Satan. Are the synagogue of Satan. Meaning they are the adversary. They are against us. Get 3:9 before we go to 13. Right?
Chapter 3, verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan.
Which are who?
Which say they are Jews and are not.
But they what?
But do lie.
But they lie. But they lie. But they lie. Go ahead, come on.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet.
Now, without going into the long way to do it, all right, there's some people out there that try to say that's talking about Israelites going into the Pharisees. That's not what that's talking about. Because nowhere do you read that Israelites are going to bow at the feet of other Israelites.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
That's one. Two, when you read 2:9, if you keep reading, it says these people will have power to cast you into prison.
Right. Yep.
That's not, the Israelites didn't have that power.
Right. Still don't got that power.
And we still don't have that power.
Right.
And we still don't have that power, right? It's Esau led by the governments of the world that are doing that. And I'm going to show you some stuff. In the background, I think I had shown the article probably during my class where you can look it up. Look up the underreported deal of El Salvador. The reason they allowed them to take them into the prisons is because they're going to allow them to build nuclear power plants. So you can see that the deal that was made. And look up Bukele, the president there, because it says that he's Lebanese or Ishmael, right? You know, I like some of the things that he says, but it goes to show you that now he's in league with
Amalek,
with Amalek and with the United States, right? Get me Revelation 13.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies.
Blasphemies are lies, right? Like we read in Revelation 3:9. Go ahead. That they say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Go ahead, come on.
And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Right, come on.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God.
He opened his mouth in blasphemy against God. Go ahead, come on.
To blaspheme his name.
Right, the name of Israel, to blaspheme God's name and Israel. Go ahead, come on.
And his tabernacle.
His tabernacle is the Israelites. Go ahead, come on.
And them that dwell in heaven.
And them that dwell in heaven. How do they blaspheme his name? By saying that they are Jews and they are not. They do lie by taking the identity, all right? Which is something that they've always done.
Right.
It's not just with Amalek.
Right.
Hold that real quick. Get me the one about the $5 Indians. Get that clip
Bring
real
it
quick.
out.
All right. I'm jumping around a little bit. I think I sent it today or yesterday about the $5 Indians with the Dawes Act. I might have sent it very late today. All right. It's with the brother from Instagram, and he just kind of posts these things up. I did post it. Unless Telegram's messing around and it didn't go through. Or y'all were too busy trying to set up the Zoom when I did that. So what I was saying is, when I go back to this article after I show this video clip, you're going to see that we know already that they don't like when we speak contrary to their lies that they're bringing out, to the blasphemies that they bring out, right? They don't like it. So their eye is on us. Right. And later, if I get to the part where I want to talk about the young lords and stuff, realize that it wasn't just so-called blacks that were part of the COINTELPRO operation. Latinos were part of that as well, all right? Specifically the young lords and brown berets and any groups affiliated with them. We spoke about how Edgar Hoover's quote that you see floating around there, he says black unity. When he meant black unity, he meant he didn't want to see unity even with what we call Latinos today, because he realized that we were one people and one race, right? So you got to look at that stuff. You got to see this, right? You guys still haven't found it, I'm assuming?
Hey, Deacon, another one of those lies is when the new year starts.
Because I don't see it up on the screen yet. It was an Instagram clip.
I saw it today, I thought.
It was an Instagram clip. Maybe Telegram didn't push it through. I had wanted to send it. It went into let me see what this is. No, I don't want to log in. No, that's the Who Hates Who. I thought we might go into that. I said that was Health Peace. Is it this one? Yeah, you guys just don't know where it is. I did send it. Oh, finally. Freaking guys. Well, there goes your flawless show.
The nameless.
I sent it at 16:41 yesterday, right? Go ahead. Put this up. So remember, stop. I said it's not uncustomary of them. Not only did they ultimately take our identity as Israelites, right? They've done this before. They want to take our identity and say that they're us.
Right.
This is where they come up with Hispanics and that distinction that I made, and they prefer that we use Hispanics because Hispanics can include Spaniards. Or any Spanish-speaking people, which just because you speak Spanish doesn't not mean that you're Israel. Get that correct, all right? Latino is region-specific, meaning it'll include even people who don't speak Spanish, like Brazil, right? And other areas in the Caribbean and Latin and Central America, right? You have Guyana, for example, right? Watch this. This is not the first time that they love to say that they're everybody. They love to lie and blaspheme. Part of the ways that they do it is they not only will they not let us be Israelites, they won't even let us be us, what they called us.
Right.
Right? They called us Native Americans or Indians. They won't even let us be us. Go ahead, play this.
White people paid $5 to steal native identities, and their descendants still common today. In the 1800s and the early 1900s, the U.S. government forced Native Americans onto the...
So you started late. Go ahead. Go back a little so that he can do it. You don't got to read the first part. Just start from the second page because you read that. All right, and try to go through it. You're not a fast reader. Oh, you see, you already messed up. Stop.
You're gonna have to pause.
I'm gonna read it for him.
All right.
Go. All right. Pause that, and then from there I'll read it for him. In the late 1800s and the early 1900s, the U.S. government forced Native Americans onto the Dawes rolls. Tribal registries needed to receive land allotments, right? Because now, mind you, first of all, stop for a second, right? Like, it was their land,
right?
Exactly.
Right.
And they had to go on these rolls so that they can track them, to give them back portions that they said, all right, well, now that we took the chief places, we'll give you these places.
Scrap closet,
right? Go ahead, play, don't pause. But opportunists saw a golden ticket for just $5. They bribed officials to falsely register as Native Americans. These so-called $5 Indians stole land, tribal benefits, and federal resources meant for actual indigenous people. Whole families faked their way into tribal roles while real Native Americans were left landless, disenfranchised. Today, many still claim Native heritage. You can stop on this one because we got to talk about it a little bit. So they bribed people to be put on that list to get land
for $5.
Evil as hell.
$5.
This is where the $5 Indian term comes from.
Yes.
Right.
A $5 bribe, which was a lot back then, right? But you look at it now, they called $5 Indians because it's not that they mixed with natives and they're trying to claim their descendancy, right? But from like the mother's side.
Right.
They're claiming it just based on the fact that they threw their names on the register to get welfare from the government.
For $5.
Much like welfare recipients today, just like the largest beneficiaries of DEI. It's good that DEI is going away because it's the wake-up call.
Right.
But the largest beneficiaries of DEI are white women. Because DEI also includes that women suffrage movement stuff.
Right.
Statistically, the largest beneficiary of the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement is white women. It's white women.
Interesting.
Right? And what they did is they claim it today from their great-great-grandmother without realizing or caring that their ancestors stole it. And to this day, they incorporate themselves. There's like that one senator that Trump calls Pocahontas because she was trying to say she's Native American. And she's not. She's a descendant of people who just threw their name on that Dawes register.
Dang.
And then they perpetuate that lie today, and they say they're us.
Right. That's crazy.
And Deacon, Trump has been doing all these things like changing the name to the Mexican Gulf to the American Gulf. He's been doing all these changes. Why doesn't he revert the registry that they bought back during those times?
Right.
Why don't he revert that?
Nope.
So that's how you know this man is racist. These
Go
people
ahead.
are racist.
Come on. A $5 bribe turned into a legacy of stolen land, stolen identity, and stolen history.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
And the effects still linger today. Right? So that's the fight. So same way that they say they're Jews and they lie.
Yeah.
Now they pretend to even be us.
Right.
Remember Rachel Dolezal? I know that's an
Man,
extreme example,
for real.
but she's not the only one.
Nah.
Because way back in the 80s, there was a movie called Soul Man. Right?
Oh,
You can look up the
mercy,
picture
yeah.
for it. Soul Man, where a white dude wanted to get a DEI scholarship, so he took these pills to make himself dark, wore an afro wig
In a stupid voice.
to get a black scholarship.
We hear a whitewash, and I ain't heard a blackwash.
It's the movie's
Yeah,
called
it's
Soul Man. Yes, there it is.
Crazy.
Soul Man. Look. Blackface. The movie is called Soul Man.
That's wild.
And the premise of it was that he wanted to get a scholarship that was for black people. So he went in. That's probably where Rachel Dolezal got that damn idea, right? I remember that movie.
Crazy
right?
work.
I remember watching. And at the end, he's supposed to realize when black people suffer. He shows up white and gives his scholarship back, and he gives the spot back, and yay, the white man. That's how they set it up. They're always mocking us and throwing this stuff in our face in regards to this stuff, right? Now, let's go back to the article. I want to show you something. I was trying to lay a framework so that you can understand. What we're going to read is not about an Israelite, but I'm going to show you the parallels where they're trying to is it in First Ezra 7 about the popular persuasions? They're trying to put anybody that speaks against Israel or America at this point into this bucket, right? And we know who legitimately prophesies about these things. See, the part that they don't understand is that though we bring light to it, because the Bible tells us to bring light to it, before you get this, get me, is it Romans 13 about obey the powers?
Yes, sir.
All right. We are subject to the laws of wherever we reside, and we are supposed to be lawful citizens, right? Just like Paul was.
Yeah.
Paul was a Roman citizen, but he spoke boldly against the wrongs and the atrocities
Right.
and the lies that Rome was doing against the Israelites.
Right.
But he also taught this so that nobody would get it twisted. Now, they're not going to care, right, that's what's happening.
Right.
And because the sentiment is you got this groupthink, you got the echo chamber. Like I said, go to any comment board where something is posted about DEI or deportation, and you'll see how they really feel about you.
Mass racism.
Straight up.
En masse. En masse. If you are not persuaded, if you are unsure, if you have any white friends that tell you racism does not exist, go to the comment boards of any of these things where these articles are posted, when they're posted on social media, and you're going to see the vitriol, the bywords and the proverbs that they use against us. All right? Anybody who speaks against the two nations, like you read in Ezekiel,
right?
If you speak against the U.S. or you speak against Israel, they're going to attempt to label you as a terrorist, whether or not you've taken action. Don't think that you can rest on the fact that you've never done anything wrong, because that's what this article is going to show you. But read this verse in Romans, and then I forgot where else I told you. Get that too, right? Go ahead.
The book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
Right. Now, he's talking about the Roman government at that time. We are all subject to where we are citizens. We are not to rebel against them. We are not to commit any type of treasonous acts against these countries, right? Go ahead, come on.
There is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God.
Letting you know that God wants these people to be in power.
Right.
The United States is the power that it is, right? When they say God bless America,
he did.
He is blessing them.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
God blesses America.
Everybody got their blessing.
And everybody has their blessing for a time.
Right.
Right.
For a dispensation of time. God bless America.
Right.
And he blessed them. Not in the way that they think that he's for them for good, because we know what the prophecy says in the end. That's in store for them at the last, right? But for now, this is their time, right? Remember, Godfrey was saying, well, you're back. This is your time. Just laugh through it.
Right.
This is your time. Just laugh through it.
Just embrace it.
Just embrace it. Right? Don't be trying to be with your white guilt and all that stuff like that.
This ain't the time for that.
This ain't the time for that. This is your time. Understand it, right? Okay, keep reading.
Verse 2, whosoever therefore resisteth the power.
Right, so you are not supposed to go against these governments as far as physical action that you take against them, right? You are not to be violent.
Right.
Our warfare is spiritual, and in spiritual means we are dealing with up here.
Right.
Yes, we're going to do things physically to support our communities, but within the framework of the laws of the land. We're going to dot every I. We're going to cross every T. We're going to put all things in writing. And none of us should ever preach or promote any type of physical violence or rebellion against these countries, right? They're going to try to forget those things. They're going to try to persuade you, right? Which is why I said read here first. And most people, just looking on the surface, are going to look at the country that is known for its propensity for free speech. Even if it's hateful speech, free speech is supposed to be protected by the what they deem hateful speech. Supposed to be protected.
Right.
It's been protected for them, and they don't come after them the same way. It's not the same. The equality is false.
Double
right?
standard.
But what I'm doing is I'm trying to put on record, and in case there's any knuckleheads amongst us that thinks that in our rebellion, is one of physicality and breaking laws against these lands. No, we are not to move that way.
Right.
Our rebellion is in that we're going to live separate from the commonality of what they're trying to push.
Right.
And it's by keeping these laws, we're going to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against God.
Right.
While still being lawful citizens. That's basically what Paul is saying.
And in Ezra, it says when we do those laws that are contrary, they see us as malicious.
Exactly.
Yes, right.
So it's the same thing.
We don't believe in what they call civil unrest. Right. We get on people when you destroy your own communities with riots when these things happen.
Facts.
None of those things are supposed to happen. You should not raise a man. The scripture says, if at all possible, live peaceably with all men.
Right.
And when it says if at all possible, it means defend yourself if you need to.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't go looking for trouble. Right? Go ahead, read.
Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God.
Right, because God have put them in this position.
Right.
He says that in Deuteronomy 28.
Right.
He says that throughout the scriptures, how he set this nations over us. Go ahead, come on.
And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation.
Right. So if you resist against those things, letting you know you're out of order into what I want you to do.
Right.
Right. Go ahead. Come on.
For rulers are not a terror to good works.
Right. They're not a terror to good works. Meaning, if we operate in the framework of what the scriptures say, right, operate within the structure of the legal system as much as it's not equitable for us, but use those laws that are in place, all right, then we'll be found blameless. But they're going to try to manipulate that. They're going to escalate that, and that phrase mischief by law is going to come into effect again. Right? Yep. Go ahead. Come on.
For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not
Right,
be...
meaning if you break the law, you deserve it.
Right, right.
You're a murderer, you're a rapist, you're a robber, you're legitimately committing crimes, right? That's evil because those things also break the laws of the Lord.
Right, right.
So you're going to get your just. Go ahead, come on.
Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same.
Right, do that which is good, and you'll be praised as a model citizen. Right? Do that which is good. Right? You resist from the spiritual perspective. You don't got to buy into the propaganda, but this is why they're trying to make things laws. They understand this, so they're trying to make things laws, right? But, you know, this is where the courts are going to fight it out. You have advocacy groups that are going to do these type of things. And wherever applicable, we're to use those things to try to navigate the system as best as possible. Is that in those verses?
Verse 4.
Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. For he is the minister of God to thee for good.
Right. Meaning if you do good, he's going to put things in place like what? Like free speech.
Right.
We can benefit from those things, right? Like the internet and the ability that we have to travel and move around, right? But if and when those things come to a point where the heat's turned up and it's being turned up.
It's going to get turned
right?
up.
Some of those things may be taken away.
Right.
Because it's happened before, right? We're gonna talk about that. All right, go ahead, come on.
But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain.
Right. It says if you do that which is evil, right?
You're going against God.
You going against God, right? Meaning he will use him to exact vengeance on those who are wicked as well, right? So we got to do our level best to move in this framework, right? We're in this world, but not of this world, like you read in John, right? Is that it on that verse?
For he is the minister of God, and a revenger to execute wrath upon them that doeth evil.
Right. So he will use them. If you wicked as hell, he going to use them against you for your wickedness, right? That's how he's rolling. Now, give me what I said in Ezra's, and then we're going to come back to the article. I want to establish this because, like I said, I'm going to show you something that's about to pop off. Don't be surprised if you hear something soon in the regard that I'm about to bring out in regards to exile. Go ahead. Come on.
The book of 1 Ezra, chapter 5, verse 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavily upon the inhabitants of Judea and holding them straight, hindered their building. And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived.
Bishop just went over the Project Esther initiative, right, by the Heritage Foundation. They are firmly pro-Israel. They are extremely pro-Trump. These are the ones that are giving Trump his directives. They have advisors implanted with him that guide him on these policy moves that he's making. And a lot of people voted for him thinking that the Democrats would be worse for Israel, like the people who are pro-Israel.
Right.
I'm sorry, the people that are against what they see happening, which they call in their own politics. See, they can say it, right? That this administration is licking Israel's boots. But, you know, we say it and we're anti-Semitic. But a white person can say it and they're fine. But what they've realized is that Trump is, it's like ridiculous.
Right.
Like what the things that he's saying and that he's going to do and that he's going to implement. Right. Yeah. We're not going to spend money abroad in wars that aren't ours. And we'll stop money to Ukraine, but that same day send $4 billion to Israel.
That's
crazy.
Man, it's like really getting turned. Like some of these things just don't make any sense.
Stuff is happening back to back, bro.
Back to back.
Israel, before they restarted the war just now in Gaza, or the genocide, should I say, went ahead and consulted with the United States before doing so. They said, hey, we spoke with the U.S.
They gave the green light.
They gave the blessing.
That's crazy.
And we with it. But, you know, the one who's really running the show
is the least.
Right, I say he gave the blessing, but
yeah,
the least of the flock.
Right,
yeah.
It's the least of the flock. That's bringing that thing out, right?
crazy.
Go ahead, go back to where we were in Ezra's.
Verse 73. And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus
and what
lived.
they're going to try to do is they're going to try to come. It's going to start with leadership, and they're going to try to hinder the building by cutting off. Remember, we're built on the foundation of Christ, the apostles' foundation, and then that way, right? So if you try to cut off the leadership, this is why it's so important, why we're so rigorous with you men,
right?
For your discipline, for your health and well-being, for your acumen in not just understanding the scriptures, but in your application of it, because they can cut off the head, but our leader is Christ.
Right.
It's a high priest that's untouchable.
Right.
Right. That's not nobody can reach him or touch him.
Right.
And as long as that is in us, then they can take out layers of what they think is going to hinder the building, but we're going to be able to move on. But the point is, they've done it before, and they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
The popular persuasion is going to be what I'm going to show you now. Is that it on that verse?
No, sir. So they were hindered from building for a space of 2 years until the reign of Darius.
Right. Meaning, so the Lord then would also, put things in people's spirits, and he did in Darius to release us to do more. Right.
Let's keep pushing.
Now, read this article.
Deported Brown University doctor.
Now, I don't know if I put the article for this one about the student that they deported. Do we know about the student that they deported? I don't know if I put it in the chat. There was a student from Columbia University that they said he was the ringleader of the anti-Israel protest, or if you're on the other side, the pro-Gaza protest, whatever you want to call it. If it's pro-Gaza, they say it's anti-Israel. Right? Yo, you're killing me with that fan. It's like right on me too. I don't know why you're pointing it at me. He's the one that sweats.
Man, it's not even hot today.
Right? Like you're freezing me out, bro. It was moving before, and then all of a sudden it's like shh. I'm like, I don't freaking drip sweat in here. You do.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought I might have posted it. Maybe I did, and you guys are just being you, nameless, faceless. But there was this student. He was here on a green card or a visa, but a resident. And they identified him as the alleged ringleader of the pro-Gaza protests that were happening on Columbia University. So they found him. They charged him with terrorist and this and that. They say he's a terrorist for promoting this, and he's promoting terrorists. And they'll name places terrorist organizations and terrorist groups because it gives them the leeway, right to go outside of constitutional protections.
Mr. by law.
Right? So it's a technicality so that the court and the advocacy groups don't think that your rights are your rights.
Right.
They will find ways through popular persuasion to demonize you, to criminalize you.
You see that with the sister Bishop. She's in government, but she's always pinpointing things.
Oh, you're talking about Karen Bass,
right?
From L.A.
Yeah,
and she was a congresswoman, and now I think she's the mayor of L.A.
Yeah, and you kind of stopped with that a little bit, though, didn't she?
I don't know.
I think she refrained from that.
All right, Benson, I'll give you some space to repent. What do you want to say?
It's just Frank in the corner. He's doing it again. Oh, he's messing it up.
Come on, Frank.
Frank. Can you stop?
Do we have a Frank in the room?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what a hassa is?
Frank?
So just read this real quick. We're not going to read the whole article on this, right, in case you guys aren't up on this. Because the thing is, you might look at this and not pay attention to it because you think it won't pertain to us. But it goes with what we just read in Ezra's about the popular persuasions.
Right.
They're doing it with these people first to see what they can get away with.
Damn. Right.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you how Trump is governing. All right. Let me tell you how Trump is governing. Trump's agenda is to blitz the courts, and what I mean by that is he knows what he's doing is going to get challenged in court, and his hope is that it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they set precedents that allow him to continue to operate this way.
Yes.
So he's basically trying to see what he can get away with and if they're going to take action against him. And if they don't, within the frame, he's testing the rigidity and strength of the Constitution and the laws of the land to see what he can and cannot do. And the people that are behind him, the lobbyists, these the Heritage Foundation and these groups that are pushing him, right? Because Bishop went into the Project Esther, but I think that went over a lot of people's heads. I read the article. I saw the spreadsheet that they have. The same way we have men's conference to build men up in the spirit, they have conferences with real movers and shakers, and they have agendas of how they're going to deal within the framework of the law more than we can ever understand.
To push that agenda.
Right? Get that about the frame mischief, because I'm going to tell you what frame mischief by law is. You think that means, you think the frame mischief by law is just they pass a law.
Right.
No. They know how to manipulate and maneuver based on verbiage,
right?
In contracts and in laws,
right?
Yeah. Right.
The power to define,
right? Get that real quick.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94, verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?
Right. So it's letting you know, they calls them the throne of iniquity, right? Because everything that they do is against God. Remember that son of perdition. He exalts himself against everything that is God. It says he frames mischief by law. And on the surface, that's just let's make a law that justifies what we're doing.
Right.
The other way they do that is they test the verbiage, and you'll hear things like, well, the founding fathers didn't mean that when they wrote the Constitution. They really meant this.
Right.
And if they were not, if they did not cover themselves, absolutely, they're basically using grammar.
Yeah.
Playing on words.
To say this is what they meant. Kind of like what Christianity does with the Bible. With hermeneutics.
Yep.
Yeah.
To say this is what it really meant.
Give you the right eisegesis.
Right. Which is why we should not, it's not of any private interpretation.
Right.
But what they try to do is privately interpret the Constitution and the amendments and the laws. And this is what's at the crux of what's happening in government now. It's always happened, but it's more rampant now, right? And it's covered more in the media. Trump's not the only president that's done it. All of them test the status quo, and they'll go through the courts. Yeah. So he's ready to go through the courts, right? Yeah. This is why he's what they say weaponized the Department of Justice. He's put people in place that have his mind and his thoughts and that are pro him, so that he can manipulate these things. And you don't have to, I'm not an expert in any of this, right? This is cursory stuff. You know, yes, I can remember 7th and 8th grade, you know, when I did go to college, I did have to take certain classes as electives that I took to write about some of this stuff. But this is basic 7th grade social studies, 8th grade social studies, right? To understand what's happening here, right? The judiciary's responsibility, the judicial branch of government in the United States' job is to what they call interpret. So though the Bible says there's no private interpretation, religions are created and denominations so that they can privately interpret
to give an interpretation.
To give an interpretation, right? This is why you have Baptists. This is why you have Seventh-day Adventists, right? We believe most of this, but we interpret this differently. We believe this, Pentecostal, but we interpret this part differently, right? Protestants believe this, but we didn't believe the Apocrypha, so let's remove it during the Protestant Reformation, right? And this is what you get here. Catholics have the catechisms, which is their interpretation of what the Bible really means and what authority they have, right? So much like how religion functions that way, this is why you got a lot of these apologists and different Christian groups that try to debate the Bible. I saw another knucklehead group talking today that since they can't debate the KJV with us, their thing is like, well, you know, the KJV is not even the best version of the Bible.
Stop it.
We have the Dead Sea Scrolls now.
Stop it.
That help us argue things, right?
The Book of Yasher.
This is why we always say, you stay in the Bible, they cannot debate you.
Not do it.
They acknowledge that they cannot.
Damn.
They try, but they acknowledge that they cannot.
They always try to get
That's
you away.
That's a statement, though. That is a statement.
Right. So the judiciary's responsibility is to interpret the Constitution, because their argument is, as much as they tried to write it as ironcladly as they could,
there's gaps.
They're not here to explain it.
Right. Exactly what they
So
meant.
our job as the judiciary branch is to explain the Constitution.
That's slick.
So one branch of government can interpret it one way, And then they'll and it's not just the president that gets challenged. Sometimes senators can, sometimes congressmen can, right? And what they do is they try to interpret it. So what Trump is trying to do is pressure test those interpretations and set what's called new precedents to do things. So though what I'm going to show you might not have to do with blacks and Latinos yet, it very much has to do with us because of the mere nature of what we started with when I said they don't like us because we bring out Revelation 2:9, we bring out Revelation 3:9, we bring out Revelation 13:5 and 6. We bring out all the scriptures that shows that this is not anything new, and we're bringing it to the spotlight again.
Right.
This is where the disdain comes from. This is where the feigned offense comes from of how dare you bring those things out. And the frustration that they have with us, right? They try to talk to us. Another thing they said is our influence stems from because when people are hurt, they're easily manipulated. So that we highlight the hurt, right? But no, we highlight the hurt because of what we read in Hosea 5:15.
I was about to say, yeah, exactly.
Bind up the
It
brokenhearted.
says
Right.
that.
And it says in their affliction they'll seek you early.
Right.
So we have to show them those things because that will open them up and take them out of the spell of Americanism.
Right.
That's Bible.
Right? The religion of Americanism.
The bewitching of naughtiness.
Right, the bewitching of naughtiness, and put them in a frame to understand things, right? Especially when it comes to Northern Kingdom. Don't let me forget, I want to run back how historically we always look to other nations, very specifically Egypt most prominently, to try to help us, right? We always were looking for other nations to help us instead of looking from within ourselves to do so, right? Now, back to, wait, you were going to say something.
Yeah, real quick. Psalm 64 and verse 1. Because all the stuff that Deacon was bringing out in regards to them changing the verbiage and so forth, this is a part of Esau's blessing.
Right.
This is what they do.
Right. So, I'm sorry, I didn't expound on the frame mischief by law. So, the way they frame mischief by law is the interpretation powers that they have. Right? And they'll go to one court, then they'll take it and they'll appeal it to a higher court, in hopes that
they get what they want.
Right. So, and then it'll get struck down by, so one federal judge will say something, then another federal judge will strike it down that's higher than him.
Right.
Then that one gets appealed, and then eventually the hope is that it gets up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court sees it, and then they'll rule in his favor.
That's what they've been doing on some of these laws anyway.
And even in their mischief by law, the sitting president names those judges on the Supreme Court.
Damn.
And what they try to do is put a judge that holds their ideals,
right?
With their ideologies, right? Bishop, you also posted a definition of dogma today. And dogma and ideology are very similar. If you can look up those definitions while you explain your scripture, and then I want to run back and explain that, and then I want to show some examples of how especially Northern Kingdom had the propensity to rely on the strength of other nations, and I want to bring that out. Egypt being the most prominent example in the times of the Assyrian captivity and others after it that we went to for help. But so mischief by law is not just pass a law, it's how they interpret the law to favor whatever their popular persuasion is at the time. Right? Because don't forget, by laws, we were under Black Crow. By laws, we were Jim Crow. We were under Black Codes. We were under Jim Crow. Right? They even had laws against us. Right now, my mind's not flowing fluidly enough, but they had laws against Latinos.
Juan Crow, I think it was.
We had what they call Juan Crow. Laws against us as well, all right? Frame mischief by law is not just passing the law, but it's also how they manipulate the law, okay? Go ahead, bring out what you want to bring out, and then I'm going to go into this.
And Deacon, even from what you were talking about with the Constitution and them putting little shortcuts or whatever to be able to interpret words, that's like going back to Daniel where they had eyes like the eyes of the man. That was a long time ago.
Exactly it. When it says eyes of man and all of that, it's letting you know that these were men that were manipulating what they wrote, right?
This day.
Remember where it says his words are smoother than butter.
That's it. That's it.
What was in his heart, right?
Damn. So when you read Psalm 64, read verse 1.
Book of Psalms, chapter 64, verse 1. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy.
Now, the enemy we're talking about here is Edom. Go ahead.
Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
We just spoke about that. They have secret councils, like how we have the men's conference. They have their own conference. The council of the wicked. They're talking about how they can destroy us. We think, oh, we just small time. No. We the people of God. They did this back in Egypt, where Pharaoh even had a conference and said, listen, let's destroy all the male childs. How much more the white man? Come on now.
From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
That's the white man. Now, here's the point, verse 3.
Who whet their tongues like a sword.
Look what it's saying about the white man. who whet their tongue like a sword. Whet
It's
means
like
to
butter.
sharpen, right? So they sharpen up their tongues like swords.
Right.
Damn.
They
All
know
they
how
do
to
is lie.
speak.
They know how to weaponize.
Yeah,
They
know how to
use their
weaponize the
words
tongue.
and weaponize it against us.
Right.
But mind you, them sharpening up their swords is saying, listen, they know exactly who to put in office. They know exactly who's going to say the right things, and they're going to use that
And
against
push their
us.
agenda forward.
And push their agenda forward. Go ahead.
To shoot their arrows. Even bitter words.
Even bitter words. Bitter words. And it's used, as it says here as in the allegory, as a weapon, as a sword. Next verse.
That they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
Who's the perfect? That's us.
That's right.
Now, mind you, what Deacon is saying and what he's about to pull out is they're going, this is part of them being wise in their war, right? Crafty in the war, because they're going to show, he's going to show the article with the other nations and the things that's going on with
And
them.
how they're using them as a
ploy,
a
not a ploy.
launching pad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A springboard,
prototype.
a springboard
Yeah.
to what they're gonna do to us. right?
Exactly. So they
I
won't
just
say,
sent you
"Oh,
a couple things."
you're targeting blacks and Hispanics only." No, we targeted these people and these people. They got
Right.
Before you show that one, get the link. But before you do that, I want to talk to you about the dogma and the ideology and have them side by side, right? Okay, put dogma and ideology side by side, right? So let's read dogma first. All right, go ahead, read that.
Dogma, a principle or set of principles laid down by an authority as an
Incontrovertibly true, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, just because of their authority, it's true.
Right.
Doesn't have to have a basis in any facts. Doesn't have to have anything, right?
I said it is true.
Right. I said it, and it comes from an authoritative voice, right? So, for example, I'll give you a very low-level way of how that functions. I am a doctor. My name is Dr. So-and-so. So because I said it, it's true because I'm a doctor.
Right.
But then you find out he's a dentist, and he's talking
Right.
about medical advice.
I got a PhD.
Or then you find out that he's a doctor of psychology, and he's giving you advice on your heart health.
Right.
Right? That's you just were razzle dazzled by the fact that he was a doctor, and you took that as his word. That's dogma, right? On a bigger scale, the dogma is, you know, Trump saying they're all violent criminals, and since it's Trump and we revere him, it must be true. Same thing also in the levels of government when they frame mischief by a law. Then you have the ideology. Let's read that.
Ideology, a system of ideas and ideals, especially one which forms the basis of economics or political theory and a policy.
Right. So what happens is it becomes laws. It becomes economic policy. So it starts as dogma, and then because of the authority, they write it into law, right? So framing mischief by law is just their dogma and their beliefs, and then they structure it into things like what we call American exceptionalism is the more modern word of what you'll hear it. So if you're reading any of these articles, you'll see things like the American exceptionalism is waning because of the way the rest of the world is seeing America. I'm not going to get into it today, but there's little things that are happening that's preparing them for what we read in Jeremiah and Isaiah when it talks about how these other nations are eventually going to turn against them, right? What you read in Revelations,
Hated the whore.
right? And it says that they hated the whore. Things that Trump is doing to get these other countries to spend more money on their defense is actually leading them down the road for them to have more military power to come against America when those prophecies become true.
Yes.
I was reading how Europe now might develop their own nuclear stockpile, right? Some European countries have it. Look up the list of nuclear powers in the world, because it's not everybody.
No.
A lot of them rely on America's nuclear stockpile.
Right.
Right? So there's a lot of things. I remember Superman 4 was about nuclear proliferation, right? It was so corny and everything, but it was basically to, like, you know, stop the nukes, right? These are the only countries known, because others have what they call dirty bombs and things like that,
Yeah.
that, based on treaties and things that they have acceptable nuclear power. North Korea's a new one on there.
And Russia was number
North Korea's
one
a new one there,
as
right?
far as like size.
Russia's number one, U.S. is number two. Right.
Yeah.
And then
Moab.
right.
Yeah.
I want to actually say this might be in proper order, but I think India has a decent amount. But anyway, in a nutshell, these are the countries with nuclear power. Notice France is not on there, Germany's not on there, Spain is not on there,
Korea.
right? South Korea is not. North Korea recently, that's a new addition on there, right?
Iran.
Right. well, that's a separate thing, but I'm talking about the allies.
Oh, yeah, the European
So
Union.
what you're seeing is that a lot of there's a lot of talk now that the things that Trump is doing is pushing a lot of these countries to increase their military spending.
Right.
There was an article I was going to show today about that, but we're not going to have time. Increase their military spending to the point where they're going to be able to develop their own nuclear weapons. So you think of the prophecies of, the fire that consumes,
Man, all them
right?
countries
Your
just
eyes
shooting each
in your skull and your
Jeez,
flesh
damn.
melts and all of that. They're increasing their nuclear stockpiles, right? So it's almost putting them in a position more strategically for when those countries take action against the
Right.
United States, right?
Right.
Because in his trying to get them to shore themselves up and spend more money, see, the policy of dependency on the U.S. is what helped build the U.S. into a world power. So while he's talking about America first, which has happened before in history and it didn't work out good for America, isolationism, right? This is what kept them from joining World War II, and it wasn't good economically and everything. He's running that back, and what that's doing is actually enabling these. Part of their tactics was, if the rest of the world has to depend on us for defense and economy, that's another way that we maintain our ideology and our power.
Right.
What he's doing by saying you contribute more on the surface, this is what I'm saying, God is at play. He's putting
Right.
these ideas into these men's head.
Yeah.
All his cronies and people that support him say, yes, this is great. America's going to be more powerful. But what it's really doing is empowering these other
Making them more
nations to rise up.
self-sufficient.
And if they're more self-sufficient, then what do they need America for?
Right.
They're going to be able to stand more toe-to-toe with him. And all it takes is one radical leader to go ahead and say, I'm going to come against you, right? So though the Iranian government, as far as just the governmental branch, is a little more timid in saying we want to work with you, the Ayatollah, which is the spiritual leader, the supreme leader, is the one that's saying hell nah, right? And you know that those are the ones that are going to be the more radical ones,
Extremists,
right? Anyway, so that's that, right? Now, where did I say I wanted to go next? Yes, I want to show you this, all right? Pull up this article. This goes into what you brought out in Psalms about the how they're having the secret meetings and stuff, right? So this was the article that I saw about Project Esther. I'm just going to read a little bit of it and show you. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but to show you that these things are happening. Like, because I know there might be people who are going to watch this and try to say these guys see the stuff that they talk about. And it also helps substantiate what we're saying, that it's not rhetoric and it's not us speaking reckless.
Right.
This is stuff that's actually happening. You're just mad that we know about it.
Current
right?
events.
Oh yeah, it's well known that they're a nuclear power. Like I said, I think they're a lot higher up than where they are on the list. But
India has a little more modest approach on how they
Right.
Yeah, they do,
Yeah.
don't they? Yeah, they do.
Yeah. All right, read that. Scoop.
International.
So this is from a Jewish independent nonprofit website that reports on all things pro-Jewish. Right? Go ahead.
Internal Project Esther documents describes conspiracy of Jewish mastermind seeking to dismantle Western values.
Right. So these are internal documents, okay? Meaning they were not meant to be made public. We were not supposed to know about this because these were closed-door meetings they were having. Kind of like the Christians have closed-door meetings about us, and we eventually kind of find out about it. They get leaked, and they're doing presentations on how to combat us. And what they're really doing is they're fighting God, right? They're how to combat the scriptures and what they say. Go ahead, read.
A presentation meant to win supporters for the Heritage Foundation plan to fight anti-Semitism draws a line from George Soros to Antifa and pro-Palestinian protests.
Right. So that Soros is in it. We know he's a manipulator and a financier of a lot of civil unrest and things like that. Antifa's the anti-fascist and what they're calling pro-Palestinian protest. They're targeting individuals that speak against Israel. They're saying pro-Palestine, and mind you, I want to point something out, and I'm going to talk about it when I show another article. Framing mischief by law is, let me name this because this is within my power in the executive branch to say this is a terrorist group, even though they may not have committed any terrorist actions. And by doing so, it allows me to, for example, send them to the prison in El Salvador.
Right.
Whether or not they've done anything.
Dang.
Right? What's it called? Seco cocktail? What's the?
I gotta look at it again. I
You put it. Can you look at it and look what it's called? You put it up. I forgot what it's called. There's an acronym for it, and it stands for like the terrorist prison.
ICO, DECO.
Right. You posted it in general.
It's CC or CECOT. CSOT.
This one. CECOT.
CCOT. So things like CCOT, right? Now. Meaning, if you speak against Israel and they're trying to pass this law of what anti-Semitism encompasses, and then they edit it. Right now, I saw a headline. I don't know. I haven't verified it, that because they released the files on JFK's assassination, I haven't read them. I'm presuming that there's some reference to Israel and Jewish people in there having something to do with it. I'm presuming. I'm not saying that's the case, because all I saw was a headline, right? And the headline says that one of the foundations amended the definition of anti-Semitism to say that if you say they had anything to do with his assassination, it's anti-Semitic. Following the release of the files that Trump just released. I haven't dug into it yet. You know, and I'm not going to go deep. It's like 80,000 documents. But, you know, there's people who are doing that and pointing certain things out. I think I saw a headline that they said the CIA. I mean, we kind of all knew, but now proves that they were responsible for it. I actually went on a business trip one time years before the truth, to Dallas, and I went and I took the tour over there, like where he got shot, the grassy knoll and everything. And I mean, it's pretty obvious that it was an inside job. It was just never verified, right? But anyway, what they're doing with this movement is that they're planning how they're going to come against organizations and individuals that speak against Israel, right? And there's and the Israeli establishment and Zionism, right? Even in the least. And all of this is connected because it's starting with people who they call pro-Palestine, and we're not pro-Palestine. We're pro-God. We're pro-God. We're pro-Israelites, according to the Bible, right?
True Israelites.
Now, read some of this.
The Heritage Foundation's Project Esther, a conservative plan to counter anti-Semitism.
What they call anti-Semitism. Go ahead.
Sees the problem as one in which a handful of masterminds, including Jews like George Soros and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, are seeking to dismantle Western democracy's values and culture.
Framing popular persuasion, right? Framing mischief by law is popular persuasion, secret plots. This is a secret meeting that they had. This is a secret plan and agenda that they had. And the popular persuasion is to label these people that they deem anti-Semitic as people who want to dismantle Western democracy. Remember what I read in Romans 13 to start.
Right.
To clearly separate us from that type of thing.
Right.
And I'm not saying that this is going to target us yet. They don't see us necessarily on that level of a George Soros or even this governor that they're talking about yet. But as our influence grows and as more people repent and rally to this cause, as the forging of this bow continues, as the union of the two sticks becomes more manifest, these things are going to be in place to come at us, right? To take away our liberties.
Break our bands.
To be brought for preaching Christ in front of these people. But there's something more near on the horizon that they can do as individuals to us just by our association with teaching this word. I'm going to show you that, all right? That's the point of the exile part of what I'm going to go over today, all right? And they said, according to, read that from there.
According to internal heritage documents obtained by the forum.
Right, these are internal documents. Now, what does the document say? We'll stop after this paragraph, and we'll just look at some of the supporting material we have. Go ahead, come on.
The documents, a pitch deck that Heritage used in trying to build support from Jewish foundations and other organizations.
So like the SPLC, AIPAC, and all these other organizations that they know have deep pockets and the connections and influence to frame mischief by law. Go ahead, come on.
Also outlined several tactics the group plans to use to undermine a collection of anti-Zionist nonprofits and progressive groups that it refers to as Hamas Support Network.
So if you're what they deem a progressive group, they call you the Hamas Support Network. And again, if you speak against the Israeli establishment or Israel, the Israeli government, they deem you an anti-Zionist, right? So they call these anti-Zionist nonprofits. Like I said, we might not be high on that list, but I guarantee you we're on that list. Go ahead, come on.
The actions include identifying foreign members vulnerable to deportation.
That's the heavy part that I'm going to go into. Deportation. If you live here, if you've established yourself here, whether as a born citizen, whether as what they call a naturalized citizen, that you got your citizenship, or you're here under some sort of temporary status, resident, alien, or green card program,
right?
One of the tactics that they're pushing to do is they're looking for those people who are vulnerable to deportation. Now, you might say, I'm an American citizen. I'm freeborn, right? That might not affect me. I'm going to tell you that don't mean ish once they start doing things like this, right? Especially if you're lower on the rung and you're not somebody of note, all right? Go ahead, come on.
And enlisting law enforcement to generate uncomfortable conditions for progressive activists.
Now, I'm going to show you how that's happened already. When we read the article about the professor who got deported, this is what happened to her. They enlisting law enforcement, ICE agents, Customs and Border Protection when you're coming back from a trip abroad, okay? Go back. I didn't say leave from there. I'll tell you when I want something pulled up. He's still reading from there. Go ahead. Read that part again.
And enlisting law enforcement to generate uncomfortable conditions for progressive activists.
I'll give you one that I don't have the supporting info for, or maybe I posted it and I just don't want to count on these guys to dig for it. There was one where I saw that they're forcing elderly people. Now, this isn't Israelites yet. For example, let's say you're somebody that lives in India.
Right.
And you spend 6 months there, because customarily that's the limit before you got to come back to establish your residency. 6 months here, 6 months there. And you come back and they see you within that 6 month time frame. They're trying to pressure people to rescind their green cards during their immigration interviews, trying to come back into the United States.
Right.
This is generating uncomfortable conditions. And what they're doing is saying, well, we suspect you of this and this. If you don't rescind your green card, we're going to have to detain you and, we're going to have to investigate you and basically hem you up.
Right.
And you'll be lost in limbo for a little while. And they're doing it to elderly resident aliens because, they're older, they're confused, they don't know what's going on, and they're trying to persuade them to voluntarily sign certain forms. I don't know if I sent it to you guys or not, all right? That's one example of it, right? Let's scroll a little. All right, so they have this whole plan. Go up there. This is a slideshow from the presentation they were giving, right? They're talking about anti-Semitism's ecosystem, right? They're naming certain masterminds, what they call progressive elites, right? They have different names here of individuals, okay? They have certain backers. These are companies that they say are anti-Zionist and pro-Hamas networks, right? They name certain organizations, right? And like I said, we're not necessarily on these slides or these lists because in their minds, maybe we don't have that much influence there. But we know who the ultimate target is going to be of this stuff, right? Because if they can start with these high-level type of individuals, it's nothing for them to come and do things against us, right?
Exactly.
And then look at the behavior that they're calling violent activity.
Wow. Protest.
Hold on. Campus protest, right? Which is going to segue into what I'm going to show in a moment. Marches.
Wow. Right.
Any marches that are done, right? Riots, we don't condone. Violence, we don't condone. Vandalism, we don't condone, right? But if you protest or if you march, you are on their list for behaviors that are deemed this way, right?
Oh, we be
Read
marching.
through the red tape. Read through the stuff that they're trying to show you here, right? Read between the lines, okay? Now, drop this. Get me the spreadsheet that I posted, right? This is an organized plan of action of the actions that they plan to take, right? These are the challenges, and then they have their effort of how they're going to combat it, right? So just briefly read the challenge side.
Challenges. Corrupts United States education system.
Right. So this is why this is things like don't teach
slavery in the
school systems. don't teach anything about equality and certain aspects of things, right? They're attacking certain things, right? Leveraging American media, right? Meaning like their restrictions of kicking us off the internet.
Right, social media.
Right,
YouTube.
giving us strikes, banning us from certain things, right? And not just us. There's other people. They might not even be teaching biblically, but they're teaching other things that's against the establishment. The point is, I'm trying to let you see that if this can be done to them, how much more us?
Exactly.
Right? Co-ops the federal government, right? So, you know, if you're trying to take advantage of any government programs, right? So maybe they're going to come at us and try to dissolve organizations, right? Exploits open society, right? Exploits American complacency and leverages global support network. Now, they have their line of efforts of how they're going to address this. For example, look at the top line, right? LOE Winchell, right? LOE Dewey. These are the different names that they're calling these lines of initiatives that they're doing.
Right.
This is a very structured.
Man.
When we read Ezra's and we read Frame Mischief by Law, these are very structured events, right? The simple Negro mind don't think of this stuff, right? But all praise to the Most High, y'all got leaders that's looking at this type of stuff, and there's things that are being done for us to help address certain things like this, right? I'm not saying you brothers and sisters at home got to worry about this stuff, but understand that your leaders are out front, and any of us who teach, that have any type of notoriety, any of us who travel are going to be subject to some of these things.
Exactly.
The time is coming. One of the things they want to do is what? Name, shame orgs and individuals supporting HSNs, right? Deny HSO access to campuses.
In the beginning, under LOE Winchell, it said expose and discredit.
Right, meaning this is what they did in COINTELPRO.
Right.
They exposed, if there was anything wrong and someone wasn't blameless, they would bring things out.
Yep.
Or they would seek to discredit them by fabricating things, right?
Dr.
Making things up about leadership and individuals,
Martin
right?
Luther King, they tried to take his adultery and all of that was one of the ways to try to infiltrate
To
his family.
discredit him.
Yes.
Discredit him.
Exactly.
Look at the other one, all right? A line of effort, Dewey. This is what they call Dewey. They're naming it. So these are the line of efforts. So we're going to have one called Winchell. This line of effort is going to expose and discredit, right? Academics and propaganda. That's the popular persuasions. Wage lawfare. They even have a word for it. They want to. They'll keep you in courts. They'll keep you spending money and resources, right, with frivolous lawsuits. Okay.
Look.
Wither on the vine, meaning they want to tap your money and your resources by tying you up in court, right? Look, they're going to assemble legal experts. They're going to determine legal violations. This is why I said we got to dot every I, cross every T. Right? Everything we have to move more circumspectly in how we do things, right? File civil suits, identify financial violations
for the future.
Meaning put people onto them and see if they're doing things meaning even if it's not a dishonest thing, but it's something maybe done through ignorance, they're going to try to exploit that. Right?
Great war of ignorance.
There's things called wire fraud, where if you move money for one intention and it's for something else, right? This is what they convicted Trump on, right? For his hush money payments, they called it, right? Line of effort LaGuardia. Remove the cancer, preserve democracy, right? Strategic dilemmas for progressives in terms of their anti-Semitism. So put things in place that makes it harder for them to teach the truth, to do certain things, right? They line of effort called Golem, contest freedom of access. This is where they'll try to limit what you can do and even what they said, right? Target individuals who might be sensitive to deportation. Pluribus, strengthen and expand their American coalition, build their teams. And then they have understand and illuminate, right, our efforts and what we're doing, right? Drop that now.
That is diabolical.
Wicked.
That is diabolical right there.
Council of the wicked.
Now you can turn on the fan because now I'm heating up. All right?
Can I grab
But
some
put it
real
on
quick?
rotate.
Can I grab some?
Yes.
Get Wisdom of Solomon 2 and read verse.
Yes. Good script.
Start at 10.
Because
it ties back to, even like you said, they're targeting the elderly. It's not even and that's not even elderly Israelites. This is just how they're dealing with the general population.
Okay.
Imagine how they're going to deal with us in the truth. But read that real quick.
Wisdom of Solomon 2.
Go to the Columbia student first because I'm going to sum that up after this, and then there's the article we're going to read.
And verse 11.
Start at 10.
Verse 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
And that's what we read in Revelation earlier. God said, I know that poverty. He knows the tribulations, the adversity, everything that's being set up against us. Read.
Let us not spare the widow.
This is the mindset that these oppressors are rolling in. Read.
nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age.
They're not going to worry about how elderly you are. The way that they're going to deal with you is going to be the way they've been dealing with everybody else
Just
to
like
test
they
the
did
waters.
with the elderly.
Right.
Like you mentioned, right?
Right, read.
Let our strength be the law of justice.
They said, let our strength be the law of justice. Let's frame mischief by a law. Let's put these laws in place, or let's play on the laws so that we can have things move to our advantage. Read.
For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
We're feeble. We don't have any military might. We don't have might in certain respects to have our own platforms. All of these things are in place. It's in their might. They've got the power, and the things of what's established in this earth. It's in their hands. We're feeble, but we got to read the next verse.
Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous.
And this is the mindset. They're just lying in wait. They're waiting to see if they can catch us up in the laws like what Deacon just brought out. They're going to frame mischief by, even out of our ignorance, if we're not aware of it, we don't take time to educate ourselves, they're going to lie in wait. Read.
Because he is not for our turn.
And that's because we're not for their turn, because they blaspheme God. We're speaking boldly against the injustices against our people. Read.
And he is clean contrary to our doings.
And that's because we keep God's laws. We're sanctified through the word of God, and we're clean contrary to the things that they do in this earth. Read.
He upbraideth us with our offending the law.
They offending God's laws. They say a man can marry another man. They continue to break God's laws day in and day out. Read.
And objecteth to our infamy the transgressings of our education.
Because their education, they teach us lies. They frame mischief by a law. They indoctrinate people through lies. They changed the new year to a whole nother time. They changed the new moon. They changed everything that God said was the foundations of the earth. They changed it out of course.
Right. So now it leads to this, right? They arrested and they're trying to deport. He's not here illegally. All right. This individual named Mohammed Khalil. Right. Let's read the headline. Mahmoud.
Colombia anti-Israel activist facing deportation contests his detention relocation.
Right, so they're trying to move him away from Jersey because they fear he'll have sympathizers there. So they want to move him somewhere else to do the trial against him somewhere else. They wanted to move him to Louisiana, right? So they arrested this guy because they say he was one of the students on campus that was leading those protests, I think late last year and even maybe early this year, right? That he was an instigator. And they're labeling him a terrorist because of his anti-Israel sentiments, they say, or rather his pro-Gaza sentiments, right? Go ahead, read.
Mohammed Khalil.
Mahmoud
Khalil, a graduate arrested after leading anti-Israel protests, rejects officials' explanation that he was moved from New Jersey to Louisiana facility over bedbug
So they're
problem.
playing games, right? Frame mischief by law.
Yes,
The
exactly.
judge would not allow him to be moved. They said, we got to move him because he has bedbugs in the prison, right? Anyway, so that was him, right? And they're fighting to deport him, but he has advocacy groups defending him. Drop this. This is the one where it gets very interesting. He actually was the face of protest, right? So maybe, they're looking at him, right? He was out front. Let's look at this Brown University doctor.
Deported Brown University doctor acknowledged she attended Hezbollah leader's funeral on visit to Lebanon, source says.
Right, so Hezbollah's group they've named as a terrorist group, right? And we're going to read it, but I'll give you like a preview. She says that she believes in certain religious teachings of some of these people, right? And but not their political ideologies, right? We're going to see what happened to her, right? Because a lot of times we talk about a lot of revolutionaries that the government has deemed a certain thing.
Right.
I'll give you an example, right? And we'll show you. We're not going to show it yet. Trump just named 43 countries, non-entry countries, meaning that if you're from there for any reason, well, he has them in levels, I think red, yellow, orange, or red, orange, yellow. If you're in the red, for any reason, whether you're a diplomat or whatever, you're not allowed to come into the United States. Cuba's on there. Venezuela's on there. So if we go and we talk and we say, hey, we support the Cuban people, which we do because they're the tribe of Manessa. Right. That might be deemed that we support terrorists. He named Cuba a terrorist state.
Shoot, that's crazy.
There's no terrorism in Cuba. They are so freaking broke. They got no money to commit any acts of terrorism. He named them terrorisms, right? Venezuela was on that list, right? I want to say Haiti was on that list. We'll look at the list later, right? Letting you know that, we deal with mentioning these type of things in these places.
Right.
Just remember that. Just remember that as we read what happened to this professor. Go ahead, come on.
A Brown University assistant, professor, and doctor was deported over the weekend from Boston to Lebanon after federal agents found photos of former Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah and Iran's supreme leader on her cell phone. A source familiar with the case told CNN.
Now, sometimes we screenshot stuff to use in a class or whatever.
Right.
Just for her having these photos, and I don't know why they were going through her phone when she was coming through immigration.
That's crazy.
Remember what we just read about the Heritage Foundation?
Right.
Yeah.
Look at and get law enforcement to aggressive. Can we go back to what it said? I don't want to diminish it. Go back to the article about the Heritage Foundation from the forward article. Go down. It was the first paragraph. Second paragraph, right?
And
the actions include.
The actions include identifying foreign members vulnerable to deportation.
Come on.
And enlisting law enforcement to generate uncomfortable
Do you know what it means to
conditions.
generate something?
To make it up.
Make it up.
Right. Make it up.
Make up uncomfortable conditions
That's
for
the-
progressive activists.
That's the language they be using.
Go back to what we were reading in the article. Come on.
Following Dr. Rashad Alawaz return Thursday from a visit to Lebanon, federal agents at Boston Logan International Airport found the photos. The source familiar said it was not immediately clear why officers were examining
Who put
her
them
phone.
on to that?
Oh, it's not immediately clear.
Yeah.
But remember what we just read, that they want them to generate uncomfortable positions for them
Right.
when they're individuals that are vulnerable to deportation. Right? So they're targeting certain individuals, and they basically, 'cause phones are locked.
Right.
Right.
That means they took her. They said, would you unlock your
Put her in
phone
a
for
room.
us?
Probably put her in a
Would you
room.
do this? Would you put her in a room?
And she
All
was
that
probably
stuff.
thinking she's good. She's innocent.
Yes,
Right.
yes. That has happened to us sometimes. I remember leaving Cuba the first time when we went on our religious mission there. They pulled back some of the brothers when we were leaving. 'Cause remember, we got detained,
Yeah.
right? By the Cuban government. This wasn't like what we're dealing here. This is actually what the United States is doing here, right? And they pulled us back, right? They
Yeah.
pulled some brothers back and questioned them before they left the country, right?
Remember in Chile, they were trying to take your passport.
They wanted to take they tried to do it subtle in
Right.
Chile.
Right.
They're like, oh, we got to see your ID. I keep a picture of it on my phone. So I showed it to them. I said, no, I don't have it. It's at the hotel. I said, but here's mine on the phone.
Yeah.
Because he would have took that and then used that to detain me. Because that's what they did in Cuba when they arrested us. They took the passports from us. So like we're like, damn.
You need
so
that.
so it was like, we're not handcuffing you, right? They couldn't put us in a cell because the cell was small in that local province. So but we went in jail. We went to jail.
They created
We
uncomfortable
weren't in the
conditions.
precinct. We went to jail.
Right.
Right. We went to jail, and they took they had all our passports a stack like this, and then put it on the table like boom, because you can't go nowhere without that.
Right. You need
Right. So what they're doing is they're catching you at the airport. They're putting you in an uncomfortable situation. Why did they have to go on her phone?
Exactly.
Right. Why did they have to go on her phone? Go ahead. Come on.
The existence of the photos was outlined in a court filing Monday, obtained by CNN affiliate WCVB. In explaining why these multiple photos were deleted by her 1 to 2 days before she arrived at
Wait a
Logan
minute.
Airport.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
How do you know they?
Wait.
They went into her deleted photos.
They was in her deleted photos because it take 30 days if you don't manually.
If you don't manually delete them, they went into her deleted photos. Go ahead. Come on.
In explaining why these multiple photos were deleted by her 1 to 2 days before she arrived at Logan Airport, Dr. Alawa stated that she did not want to give authorities the perception that she supports Hezbollah and the Ayatollah politically or militarily. The filing reads, per WCVB. I think if you listen to one of his sermons, you would know what I mean. Alawa allegedly told the agents, according to WCVB's copy of the filing, he is a religious, spiritual person. As I said, he has very high value. His teachings are about spirituality and morality. Alawa, 34, acknowledged to federal agents she attended Nasrallah's February 23rd funeral, a public event attended by thousands. During her visit, said the source, our client is in Lebanon, and we're not going to stop fighting to get her back.
So they sent her back to Lebanon, even though she's a verified resident here. She has a life here.
Dang.
Go ahead.
In the U.S. to see her patients, and we're also going to make sure that the government follows the rule of law.
Now, here's the thing. This popular persuasion and commotion, most people would be on board with, right? Because she's Ishmael.
Right.
And we know Ishmael's a wild man. She's Arab. And most people are going to be like, hell yeah, we know that some of these people, this is highly, it might seem like very highly suspect.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And who knows? Maybe she turns out to be a terrorist conspirator. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe the other guy does too, right?
But the means in which they went about
But the means in which they went about it.
They generated a situation.
A situation was generated just based on her liking a sermon.
Right.
Going someplace that they deemed, right? Like if we decided we wanted to go to Cuba or Venezuela somehow to teach the word and we come back from there and they were or Haiti, which is on that list.
But you could be
and they were just designated as countries where people are persona non grata.
Right.
And when you look at the list, you're going to see some things that you would say, damn, that makes sense that those countries are named there.
Right.
But why are some of these other ones named there? And you would say, we would go there because our people are there to teach.
Right.
So the affiliation, right, because of the way that, and this goes into that line of efforts that they're doing, makes it seem like something. Yeah. When it says they're wiser than Daniel.
They
Man.
Right? But let's keep reading.
Stephanie Marzouk, an attorney representing.
Well, jump, because they're just talking about her condition. That's her. Go ahead, come on. Scroll. Go ahead, come on.
Alawa described
Nasrallah,
who was killed last September by an Israeli airstrike in Beirut, to the officers as a highly regarded religious leader, and told them she follows his religious and spiritual techniques, but not his politics, the source said.
So, for example, we like some of the things, some of these people that the U.S. has said, right, because they speak like for their people and they say true statements against U.S. policies.
Right.
And we sometimes will point them out and say, hey, you know, what they're saying makes sense. We might be deemed suspicious because of that.
Right.
Andrew Tate's been on a lot of attacks. We
Yes.
referenced his stuff.
Look up, right. Right, exactly, right? Go ahead, come on.
Alawa also acknowledged to immigration officers Hezbollah is a terrorist organization.
So she said, you're right. I know that they're a terrorist organization. Go ahead.
According to the source, the group, which enjoys broad support among Shia Muslims across the Middle East, is a designated terror organization in the U.S. and many other Western countries.
Right, so if you have that designation, whether it's warranted or not, right? And we know, again, Hezbollah is obvious, right? Like they're like, it's
that's what they do.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They take accountability. They'll let you know, that was us. We did this. Right?
We did this. I didn't do it again.
Right. We know that that's legitimate. Right. But some of the other ones seem a little bit of a gray area.
Right.
But they're still designated that way. Right? Go ahead. Come on.
Last month, Rasha Alawa traveled to Beirut, Lebanon, to attend the funeral of Hassan Nasrallah, a brutal terrorist who led Hezbollah, responsible for killing hundreds of Americans over a 4-decade terror spree. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security said.
Come on, keep going. I want to get to some juicy parts. Go ahead.
A visa is a privilege, not a right.
Now, it starts with a visa, but Trump has been exploring ending birthright citizenship.
Right.
He's been looking into gray areas, right?
That's crazy.
So you may hold a U.S. passport, right?
Right.
But even if you have a U.S. passport, what does your passport say where you were born? It says your nationality is where you were born.
Damn.
So when you go to the airport and you're coming back from a country,
right.
So if your passport, let's say Cuba, Venezuela, Haiti, or any of the countries that they list, right, on their list, and knowing what we know just happened to this sister, what's going to happen?
They going through your phone.
They're going through your phone. They're going to look for stuff.
Right.
They might go through your YouTube and
Your
see
Facebook.
videos and say, "Oh, why do you got this march?
Yeah. Why you like these people?
Why you like these people that speaking against the Israeli establishment?"
That's crazy.
And what you go
They might do it even if it says United States on your passport as your
Right.
nationality.
Right. You're a supporter.
Damn.
You're a HSO.
That's crazy.
And that will fall under treasonous behavior.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Which, again, under the penal code, there's a lot of multitude of things, but one of them might be, we gonna send you
Firing
to
squad.
SETCO.
Right.
To SECOT.
Right.
Or SECOT, whatever we're calling it, right?
Real stuff.
I'm telling you, the writing's on the wall for this type of stuff. This isn't mild, right? And I'm going to show you the connections because I'm going to show you how easy it is for them to do stuff like that. And don't think you got rights and that you're going to be protected by it, right?
They tried to speak against Christ when they talked about the money, and they said that you're speaking against Caesar.
Exactly.
The same thing.
Same stuff happening
Right.
all
Yes.
over again. Paul too. Remember, he had to go to the courts.
Yeah,
Yes.
with
with Felix and all that.
Come on.
Foreign nationals.
A visa is a privilege, not a right.
A visa is a privilege, not a right. Glorifying and supporting terrorists who kill Americans is grounds for visa issuance to be denied.
There it is.
And it doesn't, I mean, again, maybe it turns out that they got something heavy on her, but doesn't sound like she was glorifying terrorists. Go ahead, come on.
This is common sense security.
Right, it is, because why?
Yeah.
Because she's Ishmael. Hezbollah is
Yeah.
a terrorist group. But I'm just looking at where's the line drawn.
Right.
And I'm going to show you, because when we get to what they just did to the Venezuelan deportees, you're going to see, right? Court order be damned. Trump sent them
right.
to SECOT.
Right.
Go ahead, come on.
In a separate statement, Customs and Border Protection said foreigners traveling to the United States with a visa are not guaranteed entry, adding that Border Patrol agents have final say on who can enter the country following security checks. Foreign nationals who promote extremist ideologies or carry terrorist propaganda are inadmissible to the United States, plain and simple. CBP spokesperson Hilton Beckham told CNN Monday. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Massachusetts.
You could jump. Jump to this one right here.
Alloway expulsion came as Republican President Donald Trump's administration has sought to sharply restrict border crossing and ramp up immigration arrests. It came less than a week after the detention of Columbia University graduate and pro-Palestinian protest organizer
Which is what we just read about, right?
Mahmoud Khalil, whose attempted deportation was put on hold by a judge.
They're mentioning it because they also see the relevancy of the two cases. Now, we're going to segue. Read this, though.
Over the weekend, hundreds of immigrants with alleged gang ties were deported by the Trump administration, despite a judge order blocking their removal.
Right, because he identified them because they were Venezuelans, and he said they're part of the TDA, right? That's the Trend Aragua, or
gang or whatever.
Right, whatever the gang is that they got over there. And he designated that gang a terrorist organization. All it takes is for him to say your
Say it.
terrorist group,
Yes.
which is within his power to do in the
power
executive
to
branch
define.
of government, right? He can define those things, and then that changes your rights. However, they still were able to try to block it with a judge, and he granted it because he said they're here, they're still, because of our Constitution, required to go through due process. How did you prove that they were part of the gang?
Right.
In order to go ahead and deport them.
Right.
They said the plane was in the air already, so F you, judge, and they sent them anyway.
Frame the mischief.
Right? And he sent them anyway, right? Now, mind you, just real briefly, did you find the one about the nuclear power plant with Bukele from El Salvador? I told you how to find it like an hour ago. Did you find it?
Yes.
Put it up. Just briefly. We're going to read the headline for it, right?
Bro, that's crazy, man.
He agreed to allow them into his prison facilities.
Right.
So Nayib, I think it's Nayib Bukele, he drastically reduced the crime rate in El Salvador and the murder rate because he got very hard on the gangs and the crime. And El Salvador was one of the murder capitals of the world, and now it's one of the safest countries in the world.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
Because of the efforts that he did. Like we read in Romans 13. They're not a terror to good works, but if they are, they're going to be a minister to deal with you.
Sure, it's not in vain.
Right.
And it's been a little controversial because of the way he does it, and they say rights are restricted there and whatever. But he's handled his business. And it seemed odd that he would randomly grant Trump the ability. He said, I'll take some of these immigrants, right? I'll take them. And then it turns out, read the headline.
U.S. may help bring nuclear energy to El Salvador.
That was the deal. That was the buy. We'll help you develop nuclear power, right? Nuclear power plant. Because the thing with a lot of these Latin American countries that the power systems, the infrastructure is old and antiquated. They said, we'll help you develop nuclear energy, which will revolutionize what you can bring to your country if you let us send people here. Basically, throw them in a hole and forget about them.
Yeah.
So human resources.
It's like the new Guantanamo Bay, right? Yes, he's most certainly getting paid. He's getting paid by being allowed to develop nuclear power.
That's what I mean. He's using human resources as collateral to fuel this. But this might be part of the catalyst that you talked about earlier.
Yes.
About all the nations.
Yes. Now,
against America.
I had some CCOT stuff that I sent you. I had the one with the mother showing you that they were not all gang members. Hold on. There was another one, too. Before I get into showing you how, don't think you're safe because you're a citizen. Hold on.
Can I grab some real quick, dude?
Nope, not yet, because we're going to run out of time, right? And it might be something that I'm going to bring out anyway, right? So let me go here. Hold on. And if we have time, we do it. Just show the article real quick. It's the one that says grandparents face pressure to give up green cards. Prove what I was saying. I did post it. I don't know if you guys have it. I did post it. You guys should have flashed it in front of my face even when it was a Newsbreak article. Right. Just read this is what I was talking about.
Grandparents face pressure to give up green cards as U.S. airports do not sign Form I-407.
So they're trying to get people at the airport to rescind their green cards.
Dang, that's a
and
mandate
it goes under that pressure like you saw with the Heritage Foundation and stuff like that, right? So they're trying to get on.
That was a day ago.
And show me the other one. It was a screenshot that a citizen that looked Latina and what they did to her coming back into the country. It's like a screenshot from like Facebook or Insta or Twitter or something like that. It says Ileana something. It was a screenshot for that's it. Ileana Pacheco. Read what happened here. So you're thinking, well, that's Ishmael.
Right.
Well, that's Indians. That's Arabs. Read this.
I was detained by ICE at the airport in Puerto Rico.
She's a Puerto Rican sister, I'm going to presume, because she was in Puerto Rico. She was detained by ICE in Puerto Rico, trying to come back to the mainland. Go ahead, come on.
I thought it was a TSA agent asking me about my bag, given the fact that they were right by TSA.
Damn. Come on.
He asked to see my ID, which I was confused because I just had my photo scanned and ID verified. He asked me, what's your status in the United States? I said, citizen, why? He said, I need to verify.
So don't think. That means her ID or whatever she had said U.S. citizen, and he said, I need to verify it because of how you look. Go ahead, come on.
I need to verify that. Give me your passport. I'm looking at him like, what are you detaining me for? He said, you fit the description.
Damn.
I'm like, what description? I give him my passport.
So she had her passport that said U.S. citizen. On a United States passport, it says your nationality. That lets them know if you're freeborn,
right?
If you're born here,
right?
Birthright citizen, or if you were naturalized. So this is not just happening to people who have another country of their birthplace.
Right.
It's happening to people that it says U.S. citizen, United States. Go ahead, come on.
I give him my passport, and he said, always carry your passport. So I go to the other ICE agent next to him and ask, what description? He said, you fit the description of someone who is not documented. I'm like, so what about the people who look American? They don't get stopped, right? He said, no.
So if you look white, but then they want to say it's not a racist policy.
Right.
Stop it.
Go ahead, come on.
If you look undocumented, you will be detained. So, yeah, criminal or not, they will detain any person of color.
And look at her color. She's my color.
Yeah.
Right.
So when they say person of color, that's a misnomer as well. They mean if you have a look
Right.
that
If
you look
the
Latino. Go ahead, come on.
This was an awful experience. I'm still in disbelief.
Right. Drop
LOL.
that. Go back to the BBC with the Venezuelan mother. She says her son was sent to the El Salvador mega prison. It's a BBC article.
Crazy.
They're exiling people now.
Right. Now.
They're exiling people now. And that's not a new thing either. All right? That's not a new thing either. Go ahead. Come on.
That's it.
Read this.
It's him. It's him. Mother spots son deported from U.S. in mega prison footage.
Go ahead.
Damn.
In a poor neighborhood of the Venezuelan city of Maracay, the mother of a 24-year-old Francisco Jose Garcia Cacique was waiting for him on Saturday. It had been 18 months since he had migrated to the United States to begin a new life, but he had told her that he was now being deported back to Caracas, Venezuela's capital, for being in the U.S. illegally. They had spoken that morning, just before he was due to depart. I thought it was a good sign that he was being deported to Caracas. Mirelis Cacique Lopez recalled she wanted him home, but he never arrived. And while watching a television news report on Sunday, Miss Cacique was shocked to see her son not in the U.S. or Venezuela, but 1,430 miles away in El Salvador.
Come on.
That's crazy.
The footage showed 238 Venezuelans sent by the U.S. authorities to Terrorism Confinement Center, or CCOT, a notorious mega jail. She saw men with shaved heads and shackles on their hands and feet being forcefully escorted by heavily armed security forces.
Come on.
Lord, have mercy.
The Trump administration says all of the deportees are members of the Tren de Aragua gang, which has founded itself in the White House's crosshairs. The powerful multinational crime group, which Trump recently declared a foreign terrorist organization, has been accused of sex trafficking, drug smuggling, and murderers, both at home and in major U.S. cities.
And that gang and all those crimes, good for the ones that are part of that stuff.
Right.
You do those crimes. We just read in Romans 13.
Right.
You're going to get the business, right?
The collateral damage, though.
But this is where it gets sticky. Go ahead. Keep reading.
Ms. Cacique told the BBC she was certain her son was among the detainees, even if no official list of names has been released.
Jump to where it says she also maintains that he's innocent.
She also maintains that he is innocent.
Come on.
U.S. immigration officials have said the detainees were carefully vetted.
They said it, but you see the tactics in the secret meetings. You see how U.S. citizens are even being harassed if they have a certain look. How much can you take it their word that they were carefully vetted? None. Come on.
And verified as gang members before being flown to El Salvador. They said they used evidence collected during surveillance, police encounters, or testimonies from victims to vet them.
Right. So how many times as a victim, we all look the same to them?
Right.
How many times does victim testimony say that is, right? How accurate? Police encounters, that means you take the cop's word and that's it.
Right.
Come on.
Our job is to send the terrorists out before anyone else gets raped or murdered.
That's the popular persuasion, right? That's to get people, yes, right? Let's do this, right? So I want to show you something. Long story short, what she's saying is that
it's open season.
She says her son's a barber. He's not in any gangs. She says that from what she knows, like the way his lifestyle is, like I think he's part of like a sports team on Sundays, and like he ain't rocking with that. He may very well be. You know, I know what it's like. Some people think their kid is innocent and stuff like that.
Right.
But the chances of it, based on what we've established, it could be that people are being sent
with
just
no due
based
process.
on a whim with no due process.
And it sounds like they try to rush them out the country anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
before people
before they were verified and that they got to keep them back. Remember, the judge blocked it because the plane was in the air. Trump said, there's nothing we could do.
And the judge did it for reasons like
well,
this.
and then the judge even said it. He said, look, there's not much I could do if the plane was in the air.
Right.
You know, I could put the order, but what else can I do, right? And we've yet to see what repercussions are going to happen to him because of that, right? Now, show me the clip that we posted from TikTok. Look at how that processing is, right? Remember, Bishop brought out, I think, in one of the classes not too long ago, that prison was built for us, right? Not just for us, but meaning that they're going to start sending people like us there, right? It's right in the same stream of articles. It's right after I posted the BBC article. I think Obi put it.
It's literally right in general.
It starts, you see the bus, you see people being processed.
It's in general.
Is that it? Yeah, 43 seconds. All right. Make sure the volume's up and just play it. This is how you get processed into this prison, right? And CCOT, you'll see the word, what it stands for. I think one of you posted it too, if you have what it stands for in Espanol, right? What does it say? You guys have put it up. He put it in the chat stream, I think, what it stood for, CCOT. I'm trying to find it.
Centro
del Confinamiento del Terrorismo, meaning it's the center for confinement for terrorists, right? Go ahead, play this. All they got to do is say some affiliation. Keep playing it. They can say some affiliation. They can say, you guys just came back from teaching this or saying this or doing that.
Look at this. Look at this.
Violating us as far as what they're going to shave your beard. They're going to shave your head.
Yeah. Shame us.
Hey, and if these are gang members, then good for them, right? They need that for the recklessness, lack of love that they got. But some of them might not be, right?
Exactly.
And she saw her son on footage on one of these things that they were throwing him in this prison, right?
That is crazy.
Deacon, and look how it's all tying back to what you had posted about the deal for the nuclear power.
Yeah.
This is all planned crap right here.
Right.
This is all planned, bro.
So what I'm saying is, it's not a new thing that we had times of being exiled, right?
Right.
And it's not a new thing that we would be set up and put in prisons, okay? I'm going to give you some examples in the scripture real quick. We're going to read through them quick just for the sake of time. First, let me deal with the, hold on, I want to deal with the exile piece, right? For example, let's get 2 Kings 17, 5 and 6. Let me show you different things of exile, right? Now, mind you, this happened when they conquered, but it's starting to show you that their thing is what I'm trying to show you, brothers and sisters, is that the time is coming, and this is where it vexes me, man. You got people that are so full of crap, you still can't get over basic stuff, no respect for leaders and orders and structure.
Right.
1 Thessalonians 5 talks about know them which labor among you and esteem them highly for their work's sake. I might not come back after one of these next trips. They might not let us back in after one of these next trips.
That's some real stuff that you're saying. And like you said, brothers is tripping about small things.
Yeah.
We got big things going on, man.
I might not come home.
To your family.
I'm listening to what you're saying.
You've got children.
I'm listening to what you're saying.
All right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you that because,
I'm listening.
Because, I mean, we got things in place.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to try to fight it in the courts and stuff like that. But, like, I might not come home. I might wind up
in
Bukele's prison.
Yeah. Right. And Deacon, remember the prophecy. They're going to smite the, what does it say? Smite the
perfect in secret?
The shepherd. Smite the shepherd so the sheep can scatter. They're going to do this crap to us, bro.
Right.
The leaders.
Right. I'm just letting y'all know because if it happens to any one of us, all right, I mean, y'all going to fight. You're going to use the system and try to get my ass home.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You gonna, but I might not. At the worst end, some of us might wind up in them prisons. Best case scenario, we get harassed and then they let us in. Somewhere in the middle, we got to find somewhere to stay where we just came from.
Right. In the interim.
That's Bible prophecy.
In the interim.
That's what's going to happen.
And I'm going to tell you something, right? This is why the Booster Club is important. This is why the funds that you give forward. Because what happens if some of us are gone? How are we going to look out for our families here?
Right.
I'm counting on all of y'all to look out for them, right? How are we going to get looked out for while we stuck in some of these countries?
Right.
While we try to work through the system, through the process.
They're not going to help us out.
And you know that stuff is not quick.
Hell no. That's
we
years.
might be able to fight it as birthright citizens and things like that. But that stuff takes. They slow with court dates.
Yeah.
I might be gone for 8 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years.
Yeah. That
so
was
the
one
thing
of the
gets
tactics,
sorted out.
remember?
Yeah.
To the civil?
Yes. Remember, it said lawfare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lawfare. That's it.
And try to keep us tied up in the courts, trying to prevent us from coming back. First and foremost, to try to scatter us,
right.
to put the fear on us, to see if we're still going to stand for the Lord.
Right.
But in the meantime, that's why we need your help, right? We need your help. And that's why we don't stand for BS when stuff comes up.
Right.
Y'all playing games, y'all in your feelings on the sideline. I ain't got time for people like that.
At all.
The time is coming where we're going to be ostracized for that. I'm going to show you that part, but first let me show you the spirit of exile, right? Get what I said?
2 Kings? 17?
Yeah, 17, 5 and 6.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria, took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria.
Right. That's exile. They've done those type of things, and they removed them from their lands. Go ahead, come on.
And placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes.
2 Kings 17:23.
2 Kings chapter 17, verse 23. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
First Chronicles 5:26. This is Northern Kingdom. I'm going to show you some Southern Kingdom, right? Deportation's not a new thing. They call it deportation today, right? Exile was what it was called back in the ancient days. Okay, go ahead, come on.
The book of First Chronicles, chapter 5, verse 26. And the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, king of Assyria, and the spirit of Tilgalapaneser, king of Assyria. And he carried them away, even the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and brought them unto Halah, and unto Habor, and Harah, and to the river of Gozan unto this day.
Now, let me get 2 Kings 24. We're going to read 10 through 16, right? This is the deportation under Jehoiakim. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 24, verse 10. At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city, and his servants did besiege it.
Right. Now, this was straight warfare in the way they did it this way, but it's the same spirit and the same type of tactics. Go ahead, come on.
And Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, went out to the king of Babylon, he and his mother, and his servants, and his princes, and his officers. And the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign.
Come on.
And he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold, which Solomon king of Israel had made in the temple of the Lord, as the Lord had said. And he carried away all Jerusalem.
All that was in Jerusalem. He deported them. Go ahead, come on.
And all the princes and all the mighty men out of men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths, none remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land.
Right. Now, let me get 2 Kings 25. Start at 8, and we're going to jump.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 25, and verse 8. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of the king Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuchadnezzar, Dan, and captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem.
Jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. But the captain of the guard left
maybe it's 11. I want where it says now the rest of the people that were left in the city.
Verse 11. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon, with the remnant of the multitude, did Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carry away.
Notice it said fugitives, meaning they designated them criminals. They designated them like terrorist organizations or whatever it is, enemies of the state, personas non grata, and they carried them away out of the lands, all right? Out of the lands. So it's not a new thing when you see that stuff. And it's more and more and more. For the sake of time, there's a bunch that I got here, but for the sake of time, I'm not gonna deal with that aspect of it, all right? Now, let me get Acts 4 and 1. Let's look at the examples where they were prophesying the word, and they were, because you think, well, how are they going to lock you up just for preaching the Bible? Right. Well, they can't, right? Unless they frame your speech as something else than what it really is. Acts 4, 1 through 3.
The book of Acts, chapter 4 and verse 1. And as they spake unto the people, the priests and the captains of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, being grieved that they taught the people and preached through Jesus the resurrection from the dead.
All right. Preaching basic stuff in the scriptures. Go ahead. Come on.
And they laid hands on them and put them in hold until the next day, for it was now eventide.
Get Acts 5, 17 and 18.
The book of Acts.
This is where the angel wound up freeing them. Go ahead. Come on.
Chapter 5 and verse 17.
And, I'll have faith. You know what I'm saying? But
it's going to take an angel.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Come on.
We walk by faith.
Then the high priest rose up, and all they which all they that were with him, which is the sect of the Sadducees, and were filled with indignation, and laid their hands on the apostles, and put them in the common prison.
Jump to 26.
Verse 26.
Now, mind you, it's saying high priest, it's saying this. It doesn't contradict what I said in the beginning about the power to put in jail. They did this under the authority of Herod, who was an Edomite, who had the authority by Rome to do that, right? There was no their own thing to do that, right? They weren't just locking people up like that,
They
right?
put law enforcement to create
Right.
uncomfortable
Because if they
conditions.
did, they would have dealt with Christ with themselves. They had to take him to Pontius Pilate to get what they wanted, right? Go ahead, come on.
Verse 26. Then went the captain with the officers and brought them without violence, for they feared the people, lest they should have been stoned. And when they had brought them, they set them before the council. And the high priest asked them, saying, Did not we straitly command you?
So when it says the captain and the officers, that means those were Roman officers. Those were Roman captains, right, of those guards, right? And they had to bring them, and then they questioned them in front of the priest. Go ahead, come on.
Did not we straitly command you that ye should not teach in this name? And behold, ye have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine, and intend to bring this man's blood upon us.
Right. So let me get Acts 12, 1 through 4.
The book of Acts, chapter 12 and
James
verse...
killed, Peter imprisoned. Go ahead, come on.
Chapter 12 and verse 1. Now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he sought please the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
It's multiple times that we were locked up. Keep reading.
Verse 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison.
In prison. Come on.
And delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him.
Right. These were Roman troops, right? Go ahead. Come on.
Intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Right. Let me get Acts 16 and 22.
The book of Acts, chapter 16 and verse 22. And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrate rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely.
Like what we just saw. Go ahead, come on.
To keep them safely. Verse 24. Who, having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner
like
prison.
These guys were just thrust into the prison. Go ahead, come on.
And made their feet fast in the
Show
stocks.
the video again. Show the video again. Show the video again. Show it. Look at their feet. Fast in the stocks. Look at how they're thrusting them into the prison.
Damn.
Nothing
it's the same
new
thing.
under the sun, bro. To the Roman centurions.
And this is low-key used as a calling card and a what do you call it, advertisement. If you think your neighbor might be suspected of being undocumented, he might be a gang member.
And that goes back to mother, brother, that'll betray and all. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like I was saying, you would think, you say no, but it's not for preaching the word. No, it'll still be for preaching the word because we follow the laws of the land.
Right.
If they detain any of us, the only thing that they're going to try to say against us is what we say of what we're bringing out in the scriptures.
Right.
And you got to understand that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And remember, they're going to try to discredit. They're going to say that we're criminals. They're going to say that. And on the surface, you see that and you say, okay. They're going to say they're affiliated with this. They're affiliated with that. But this is why you need testimony of people that know you. That's what I'm saying. This segues to what I was going to say about unity, right? Because we're over, right? I know I said I would plus it at least 3 hours, but I'm gonna save some for the next time that we're live. That unity is important, and what they see, right? Get that with great fear fell upon them.
Yes, sir.
Right? They see us standing up. They see this, right? And while we may not necessarily be at the same level of targeting yet, it's building to that, right? And this is why that unity, all right, is important, right? They need to see what us galvanizing together.
Yeah, what verse though? Is it 11? 11 and 11?
No, go to verse 11.
You got 11 and 11.
Yeah, 11 and 11.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 11.
Right.
And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them.
Come on.
And they stood upon their feet.
Because that's what they're seeing now, right? You read that in Ezekiel with the valleys of dry bones, right? That's the spirit of life from God that's entered into us. And we stood upon our feet. Remember, that's why they want to identify marches.
Right.
We stand upon our feet because we're out there teaching against these things. We're showing our people to come up out of her, to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, to live a life of holiness and wait upon our salvation, but unite in these last days. Go ahead, come on.
And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
That's like what we read in Wisdom of Solomon too, and they see that and they're terrified.
Yeah.
So they're going to try to come against us with popular persuasions, with propaganda, to lock us up, to do these type of things. They're going to try to take the life from you and the boldness that you have and see if you really stand for what you believe in those days.
And that's Wisdom of Solomon 3. Let us try his patience.
Yes, they're going to
Examine him
see
with torture.
who's about him, right?
Exactly.
Who's about it, who's going to stand for him in those last days. And it might seemingly seem, you're going to say, well, no, you weren't arrested for saying Christ is a black man. You weren't arrested for saying that you're the Israelites. It's because you're anti-Israel. It's anti-Semitic. And that means you're pro this and you're pro that. They're going to try to frame it in such a way that they're going to try to remove us from these things, right? They're going to try to take that spirit from us. Let me get that in Zephaniah 2 and 1, right? This is why we must come together. It has to be a part of that unity, right? I'm going to run this back, the rest of it, not the exile part, but I got to go into that forging the bow and the union of the two sticks, all right? But for the sake of time, I'm trying to just leave you with some thoughts, and we're going to come back to why it's so important, because it's harder for them to come against us.
That's right.
When they see that we're united, right? Right now, the country's divided within themselves, and then even more so, you got our own people that are caught up in Americanism, that are caught up in this exceptionalism, right? And you got even you got freaking a segment of Northern Kingdom that's against their own people, and you got Southern Kingdom that's saying, yeah, these are immigrants, right? None of us should be that way. We have to unite. And this is that throwback and that callback to what we were seeing happening with the Young Lords, what we were seeing happening with the Brown Berets, what we're seeing happening in their unification with the Black Panthers. And we got to come out of those things, right? Go ahead, read this.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Come on.
Gather yourselves together.
Right.
Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
We have to realize that we're both the nation not desired. You think it's just Southern Kingdom and their hatred for what they call black, but look at the lens that they're going to against Latinos, right?
Right.
Go ahead, come on.
Before the decree bring forth. Before the day passes the chaff.
He's saying, do it now. Don't wait till that hour. Don't wait till that moment. Then it's too late. Go ahead, come on.
Before the fierce anger of the Lord
And
come upon you.
What's not said here, but it's implied because we're reading out of the Bible, is we're not going to gather together as young lords, as brown berets, but we're going to gather together under this standard, under this Bible, together keeping God's commandments. Go ahead, come on.
Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. Before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
We must unite. Get me Jeremiah about filling the bowl, right? And then Ezekiel 37, and we'll just get to the point. I think it's 16. But I'm going to go into Ezekiel 37 at more length on the next program, all right? But go ahead. Get me Jeremiah about the bow.
Zechariah 9. Right?
Zechariah, that's what I meant. Why did I say Jeremiah? Zechariah.
13.
Zechariah 9?
Yes, sir. The book of Zechariah, chapter 9 and verse 13. When I have bent Judah for me.
Right. So he's going. Start above it. Start above it.
Verse 12. Turn you to the stronghold.
Right. That's when it says what? The spirit of life from God entered into them. Turn us to the stronghold, which is this Bible, which is Christ. That's our stronghold. Go ahead. Come on.
Ye prisoners of hope.
Right. We are prisoners of hope. When you say that you're bound to this, you're bound to this, right? Yes. And that means you're going to be a prisoner to this, and you're not going to have that traitorous spirit. You're going to stand for God and Christ. Go ahead, come on.
Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me.
When he's bent Judah for him.
Filled the bow with Ephraim.
Right, and that's what you're seeing in these last days, these afflictions, what we're going through. He is raising up those northern tribes, the so-called Latinos, the so-called native indigenous, because we are all getting caught up in this mess. We were showing a few weeks back, they're even trying to mess with Gadites and saying that they're not citizens, right? Go ahead, come on.
and raised up thy sons, O Zion,
Uh-huh.
against thy sons, O Greece.
Right, because it's letting you know. And listen, this is done. We know that when it's saying Greece, what it's really saying here, that we need to speak against that border of wickedness. All right, we need to speak of that man of perdition in these last days. Go ahead, come on.
And made thee as the sword of a mighty man.
And he says he's going to make us as a sword of a mighty man, not to physically rise up against these things, but for us to do this. There will be a day when the physicality of this is going to come to pass. We cannot shy away from that.
Right.
That's what the Bible says. But that's not for us to initiate.
Right.
That's not for us to move. That's going to happen in them days of Wisdom of Solomon 5, right?
Right.
When they see Christ return with his angels, fire. And then that's when that boldness will rise up in us, right? That's when that time for Romans 13 is over.
Right.
Because it's the toppling of this kingdom and what they got set up now.
Technically, it's still in place. It's just there's a shift in authority.
Right. There is a shift in authority.
The devil, Satan's at work.
Let me get Ezekiel 37.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it. For Judah.
Right. Come on.
And for the children of Israel.
And for the children of Israel, Levi and Benjamin. Go ahead, come on.
His companions.
Go ahead, read.
Then take another stick and write upon it. For Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions.
Right, and that means those are the remaining tribes, the so-called Latino tribes, native indigenous tribes. Go ahead, come on.
And join them one to another.
That's the spirit of life from God entering into them and us standing up upon our feet together. That's the bow being bent by Judah, who has led the charge, the tents of Judah being raised first, and now it's being filled with Ephraim. Because that means, think about the bow being bent, the forging of that bow.
Right.
That started with the civil rights. And I'm going to run this back slower when we go back to the Young Lords and the Black Panthers. That's what happened during the civil rights movement. That was them rising up.
Right.
And a glimmer of foreshadowing of filling it with Northern Kingdom, with Ephraim, was when the Brown Berets and the Young Lords and the Native Indigenous were joining them in that fight. But Judah has always been bent and ready, right? His hand was in the neck of his enemy. Now, in these last days, the Lord is priming it so that that Ephraim can be filled in that, because Judah was always ready. Judah been ready from the beginning. Now it's time to arm it more, because why? Judah kind of gone to sleep a little bit.
Like a lion.
Judah doesn't have the ammunition now. So when you bend a bow, now you're filling it. Now you got new ammunition to fill it. You got more soldiers standing up to stand for the Lord and what his prophets have said from the beginning of days. All right, go ahead, keep reading.
And join them one to another
into one stick, unified, the unity. Go ahead, come on.
And they shall become one in thy hand.
And they will become one in the hand of the Lord, just like we read in Zechariah, right? So now it's telling us how we need to move in these last days with that spirit, all right, with that one mind and one accord.
Can we read verse 22?
Good.
Verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all.
Right, that's us acknowledging, right? Go ahead, come on.
And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two
kingdoms. And that was always the prophecy from the beginning. Right. So going back to what we said earlier in the show, that vexation, that envy has to go away. Right. We have to see that this thing is coming at all Israelites, all 12 tribes from every angle, right? Real quick, I want to show the 43 countries because, I want to validate what I'm saying, right? I want to validate what I'm saying here. Come on. About the 43 countries that he named. Trump, I know I gave you guys a lot of stuff up there, so I'll give you that much, right? Trump most travel ban. Well, he passed it. He did. Let's see. Does it show the names of the countries? There was one that showed the countries that were listed. Go ahead. Scroll. Let's see if it shows it. 11 countries. It's supposed to say something. No, that one doesn't show it. I'm going to look for it. One of you could talk. All right.
Deacon, I was going to say, the Brown Berets were strong, right?
Right.
The Black Panthers were strong. A lot of those movements, AIM and so forth, they were very strong. Bruh, under this standard right here, bro. Think about how much stronger we are now, bro.
Oh, have mercy.
Because we have guidelines, we have a blueprint, we have
a standard,
a reference,
morality.
we have history. Remember
Right.
remember you was talking about in Judges about the sister,
Right.
How it was an example,
Right.
Bro. We have so many different examples. The brothers got examples, the sisters got examples. So though those movements were strong, we are that much stronger, bro.
Right. That's heavy.
Okay, you can do this one. So he has red, yellow, orange, right? But I also the orange. This is red. So the red countries, you can read that. A draft list includes 11 countries whose citizens would be flatly barred from U.S. entry: Afghanistan, Bhutan, Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. Cuba and Venezuela, and it's a little outliers for me, right? What the hell they doing,
they
right?
do.
And then there was one where he mentions Haiti, right? Haiti on the travel ban list.
That's crazy. Can you read Isaiah 42 and 22? It's when you see the Bible come to life the way that it is, it's comforting, it's reassuring. There's different things that come to our spirits in it, but we got to understand that this Bible is a living document. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
He said, bro, God knows our poverty.
Hold your thought 1 second.
Yes,
I want to tell them that I think I sent a short with the Caribbean leaders saying that they were going to stand with Cuba, because this is why it's not just Haiti. He's put Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, St. Kitts, Nevis, and St. Lucia on a restricted travel list, right? No, not that one. It's another one. It shows Caribbean.
A lot of Benji in it. Hey.
That's it. That's the one. The Caribbean leaders, they said to stand up because they used Cuban doctors. And listen to what they say about Cuba. This is the unity, all right? Finish your thought on the scripture, and then we're going to come here. And then and then we'll leave it with this. Go
Isaiah
ahead.
42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
We're robbed and spoiled. They robbed us of our heritage, our land, everything. It's been taken from us, and they want more. Read.
They are all of them snared in holes.
He said, we done been caught up in trap houses in the hood. We're snared in holes, right? Read.
And they are hid in prison houses.
They're trying to hide us. They already do it in America, but now they're trying to deport us to other countries, like Deacon said, to forget about us. Read.
They are for a prey.
And that's the thing we got to realize. They lie in wait. Right now we're a prey. That means there is a predator. Read.
And none delivereth.
And none delivereth, because that's prophecy from Deuteronomy. Only one man shall redeem us. Read.
For a spoil. And none saith restore.
Except for God in Christ. We're prisoners of hope. We got to remember what that hope is.
Right. So what's happening here is those countries that are named in the Caribbean, in addition to Haiti being on the red list, right, that even students and tourists would not be able to come. So if you're from Haiti and you're trying to come here as a tourist, they're not going to let you come in. Even students are going to get their visas revoked from Haiti, all right? And then Cuba and Venezuela faces complete visa suspension. They're not able to come in at all, all right? Haiti, I think, is on that list now, too. It says Cuba, Venezuela, and Haitian governments as well. And then these countries that I mentioned to you. So they're trying to keep an open dialogue with the U.S., but he's trying to get them to basically get on board with their propaganda and denounce Cuba. So this is some beautiful unity that I see here. Listen to what they do as they stand up for Cuba here. We need more Southern Kingdom to stand up this way too when you see this type of unity going on. Go ahead, come on.
The first to go to the line and to tell you that we could not get through the pandemic without the Cuban nurses and the Cuban doctors. They will also be the first to tell you that we paid them the same thing that we pay Bajans.
Right. So, right, this
and
is
the notion.
Stop. This is the Barbados, right? I think they call them Bajans, right? I think Barbados they call them Bajans.
Look it up.
Yeah, I believe so. That's where Rihanna's from, right? Right. And they're saying not only did they help us, they said without their help, without the Cuban doctors' help, we would have not got through COVID.
Mm-hmm. They saved our lives.
And they said, and we paid them the same wages. We didn't treat them like crap. We didn't pay them less. Right? Go ahead. Come on.
As was peddled not just by this government in the U.S., but the previous government, that we were involved in human trafficking.
See the lies they made for them? Man, there ain't nobody from the damn Barbados involved in no human trafficking with that stuff. Right? Go ahead. Come on.
Engaging with the Cuban nurses.
Stop. So they called human trafficking because They used Cuban nurses and Cuban doctors.
They flew them into the
They
country.
flew them in to help them when nobody else would help them during the pandemic, and for that they said that was human trafficking. That's what I'm saying. It's not a far stretch for them to come after us for the things that we do and what we teach. Go ahead, come on.
Repudiated and rejected by us. Now, I don't believe that we have to shout across the seas, but I am prepared, like others in this region, that if we cannot reach a sensible agreement on this matter, then if the cost of it is the loss of my visa to the U.S., then so be it.
Man, she's standing up. She said, the hell with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand with my brothers here in the Caribbean. Go ahead, come on.
Have been able to do for us, far from approximating itself to human trafficking, has been to save lives and limbs and sight for many a Caribbean person.
The hemodialysis which we do in St. Vincent,
and
the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center with these 60 persons. Without the Cubans there, I will not be able to offer that service. Does anybody expect that I to go because I want to keep a visa?
Hey, I get
That I
emotional,
would-
man, seeing that unity. And this is without the scriptures seeing that.
Right.
Like it touches me. I've been to Cuba. I've seen the conditions that they're in, right? It's jacked up. Their economy's depressed. And I understand, again, I keep saying I'm going to run it back to the School of the Americas. They're the way they are because of what America's done to them.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not just that there's some third world. I've gone over that on the show. They have some of the best doctors in the world. There's a reason he's targeting Cuba and Venezuela, right? And I'm not saying things are grave in Venezuela, that maybe there's some dynamics with the president there that we don't fully understand. But I do understand how the United States has rolled in the region.
Right.
I do understand the propaganda machine that they are and the things that they say, even to their own citizens at this point.
They got a track record.
Right.
Right? Even to their own citizens, right? When I'm done with this video, real quick, I'm going to leave them with just a little screenshot of Operation Wetback in case anybody's twisted. I forgot about that. I don't want to leave that. Someone said if you could share this Cuba video, and I love this sister's page and the stuff she does for Cuba, so if we can give her some support, subscribe and like the work that she does, I would absolutely love it. Someone said they want to share this video. Go ahead. So make sure you guys post it in the link, IT. Go ahead.
But let 60 persons from the poor and working people to die. It will never happen.
Out of the blue now we are being called
Trinidad
human traffickers
shout out.
because we hire technical people who we pay top dollar equal to local rates. I just came back from California, and if I never there again in my life, I will ensure that the sovereignty of Trinidad and Tobago is known to its people and respected by all.
Ooh-wee. Man, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Show me that last one about Operation Wetback, all right? In case anybody forgets. Lord's will, next program, I'm going to talk about this a little more, all right? In case you think that your U.S. citizenship will protect you once they target you, it will not. It's happened in modern times before. Read this. This was 1954 in there, because you're like, oh, you showed me gangs. You showed me people who are here on visas and illegal.
Right.
They've deported American citizens before that were born here, not naturalized here. Go ahead, come on.
Operation Wetback was an immigration law enforcement initiative created by Joseph Swing, a retired United States Army Lieutenant General and head of the United States Immigration and Naturalization Service. The program was implemented in June 1954.
June 1954. That's in modern times. Go ahead, come on.
By U.S. Attorney General Herbert Brownell. The short-lived operation used military-style tactics to remove Mexican immigrants.
Kind of like Trump declaring that we under that obscure 17 or 1800 law so that he could deport all these people that were Venezuelans. Just because they're Venezuelans, they must be part of that gang. Right? Go
But
ahead,
this is
come
a
on.
precedent.
Yes. Go ahead, come
Some
on.
of them American citizens.
Some were American citizens. Go ahead, come on.
From the United States.
Meaning they were born here as citizens and they got swept up and deported as part of this operation. Go ahead, come on.
Though millions of Mexicans had legally entered entered the country through joint immigration programs in the first half of the 20th century, with some being naturalized citizens.
So some of you be like, well, I got my citizenship. It might not be enough. It can be birthright. It can be naturalized. It might not be enough. Come on.
And some once native.
Some native, meaning born here. And they were deported. Go ahead, come on.
Operation Wetback was designed to send them to Mexico.
Right. So that's it. I just wanted to leave that last part because this was a lot more stuff that I wanted to bring out in this regard. Look, same thing, throwing them in cages.
Bro.
Right? Packed Mexican immigrants into trucks with cages on the back and shot them across the border. They don't care if you're even from there. That's what I'm saying. We may wind up somewhere.
Right.
Exactly.
Somewhere that's not here.
Whether the Lord shall lead us.
I'm just going to say that. We may wind up somewhere that's not here. And I guarantee you see the hard time they're giving brothers coming back from travels.
Right. Because it already started.
Listen. Y'all pray for us, and y'all actually get yourselves on board with what we're doing. Don't just pray for us, but support.
Right.
Support the Booster Club, all right? We got the QR code over here. Support
Straight
the
up.
Booster Club, all right? Stay in the spirit. Stay ready to stand by us when this stuff happens. We're going to need people to advocate for us, all right? Try to fight this stuff in the system. And guess what? If we lose in the courts, then I guess I live there now.
Right.
And we're going to keep
Teach
doing
the
what we got
gospel
to
there?
do.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep doing what I got to do.
Man's going to the
Blessed
Lord.
is he that is
saying?
not offended. in
That's
me.
it.
Some of y'all want to relocate. You
what's happening?
You
Live
welcome
life in the Lord.
to. You welcome to come.
What's happening?
Power hour in Salvador.
Right? And let's get it ready. You know what I'm saying? And
That's
let's get it
real.
ready.
That's real.
We got a lot more to bring to you. This stuff has been building up week over week. All right. Not sure if we'll be live next week, all right, but Lord's will, life lasts. The week after that, keep your eye out, keep supporting what we're doing. Do not let them silence us, all right? Your support, your likes, your subscribes across all the platforms and all the shows that we do and all the different things that we do makes a difference. We got to bring awareness to this stuff. It's happening. The writing's on the wall, brothers and sisters. The Most High is trying to prepare our spirits for these things. There's things that I can't even talk about that's happening to us that we fight in and that we trying to deal with. Y'all just stay faithful and best believe that our faith is going to be tried in levels far beyond what you might think is a tribulation, what you might think is a trial for you. All right. You stand by that and you look at that. Now's the time for us to be more unified than ever, not less. All right. So with that, we say shalom, stay in the spirit, stay faithful. All right. Most High in Christ bless y'all.
Oh, we got to do the thing.
Go ahead.
Do the thing.
All right, y'all. Shalom. We are seeking your assistance to enhance our national broadcast. Kindly spare a minute to provide feedback by answering 5 brief questions. All right. Scan the QR code.
Let us know how we did.
Here we go. The Power Hour Plus on Instagram. I also want to tag IUIC Phoenix Instagram. Mind you, we got a lot of good content. Y'all seen the content, right?
Right, it's coming out.
We got a lot of good time. We've been posting on here. We got 4,955 subscribers. We want to see that mug jump to 6,000
Right.
by next month, by next week. All right, so help us out. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And if you're subscribed, you know somebody that's not, let them know. We got a lot of good stuff coming out. And as Deke was bringing out and as we've been bringing out, they're going to try to stop the word. We got to unify. And not only prayer, but in works as well.
That's right.
Next one.
Oh.
That was it.
That was it.
Hey, so all praise to the Lord.
Let the word of God have free course, yo.
Won't he do it?
Shalom.
Hold on, wait. D got to do the thing.
What
oh yeah, you got to do
the outro.
The outro.
Yeah, we not
did
gonna
the
do
build
it.
up, but you got to do
Yeah,
the final.
you got to do the outro.
I was building, and then you just.
Nah, he had to do the thing.
I got to build it up
He
again?
had to do the thing.
I did the outro already.
Okay, shalom. Here.
I'm done. Shalom, yo. Shalom.
This for the Southern Kingdom, Kwame Yasharala. Hey, one nation, one nation. This for the Northern Kingdom, Viva la Raza. We one nation, one nation. This for the Southern Kingdom, Kwame Yasharala. Hey, one nation, one nation. This for the Northern Kingdom, Viva la Raza. We one nation. It wouldn't be Israel without Mexicans. Black love, brown pride, cause we next to kin. We ain't gotta tell Esau to let's be friends, cause we above all nations and we better than them. We the salt of the earth, ayy, ayy. And we been king since birth, ayy, ayy. We put the kingdom first, ayy, ayy. And they gon' get this work, ayy, ayy. We was chosen, not cause we the most of the people. Few in numbers, but we over the people. We gods of this earth, we ain't supposed to be equal. Stop playing, you emotional people. The good gotta triumph over the evil. So my foot's on the throat of the eagle. Their tongues will confess that we the people. Cause my nation ain't never been fees.